gain an identity that's not even theirs. And if you want an identity, that's one thing, but to be rude and abusive is a whole nother. So yeah, I just wanted to contribute. I'm learning so much. So thank you so much, guys.
You are so right, naturally. And again,
their whole ideology is white supremacy.
If all your ancestors were buried on one continent that you know of, where would you be from?
That is not true, though. So all your ancestors are not buried in America. So if you want to keep it, if you want to be logical, most of your ancestors as a Black American, they are buried in West Africa. Why? Because, again, fun fact, there have been actual scientists that have tested the bones of some remains of, obviously some slaves did pass away in the castles of Ghana. So when they tested those bones or the remains in Ghana, they actually matched with the Black American people in the United States. So there's a case study on that. So most of your ancestors as a Black American, they were buried in Africa. You can keep on spamming no, but that's not going to make it a reality, though. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, later, bro.
I'm just saying, you be lying too much.
I'm a lying Congolese girl. I'm a lying Congolese queen.
No, I'm Congolese. I've never been to Congo. Not from there.
Chaotic,
He's
chaotic.
Chinese,
You need to
remember?
introduce
Name is
yourself
China.
properly first. Hold on. Introduce yourself, chaotic. Where are you from? What do you identify as? And what do you want to contribute?
This is China. This is China.
Yeah, I know already. She's so true. So I'm seeing this Coke dude in the comment section. I actually want to speak to this Coke. So Coke, introduce yourself. Where you from? What's the race? And what you got to say on the top? Because you're spamming. I'm gonna meet you though, but stop spamming. So Coke, introduce yourself. Where you from? What's the race? And what you got to say on the topic?
My name is Coke Giles McLeod. I'm an American Indian from North America, Southeast Southeast Choctaw.
That's right.
origins.
I know that's right.
Okay, so come on. You can't get dropped.
I'm a non-removed American Indian. My treaty status is established under the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek.
Okay, so hold on, bro. So you're Native American. So what tribe are you from?
I'm from the Choctaw tribe.
Choctaw tribe. Perfect. So where are people from? Who is Choctaw in your family? What person is Choctaw in your family?
It's closed. I'm sorry, ladies. I'm at work, y'all. Please forgive me.
Yeah. No, cool. So I'm saying what person in your family trace is Choctaw?
So on both sides. Mom and dad's side.
On both sides. Wow, that's great. So as a Choctaw Indian, I'm guessing you're immersed in your people's history, right? You know about your culture, you're very immersed in your people, right? You know everything about them. Since you're coming from both sides, so there should be no excuse of you not knowing your people, right? You stand from your identity. Right? Yeah, because you're full Choctaw. You stand for it. So when it comes to quantifying I'm saying when it comes to quantifying your indigenosity, there should be no excuse. So let's go that way. So we're gonna start at first with you as a Choctaw Indian. So what is your origin story, sir? Because the Choctaw people have a detailed origin story. What is your origin story?
Yes, sir. Our origin story starts at the foot of the Choctaw Mountains in Bolivia. We migrated through Mexico. Yes, sir. We migrated through what is now Mexico.
So
what is now known as Louisiana, Mississippi, and Georgia.
Hold on. So again, the Choctaws were never in
South America.
The Choctaws were never in Louisiana. They were never in Louisiana for colonization.
They were.
Choctaw Indians. Hold on, I'm still talking. Bro, I'm saying because you say sir, bro, we get it. You someone like we get it, bro. Again, the Choctaws were never in Louisiana before colonizations. The Choctaws only came to play. I'm gonna drop you chaotic because you're doing this a lot. I'm gonna drop you. So again, the Choctaws only came to play in Louisiana after they signed a treaty with the French to give them access to the land from basically encroaching tribes that were coming to conquer the Choctaw Nation at that time. So again, if the Choctaws were actually in the land of Louisiana before colonization, they would not need to sign treaties for the French to give them access to a land. So again, they had to sign a treaty with the French for the French to allow them to come to Louisiana in the mid-1700s, bro. In 1759. Go look it up. So again, indigenous tribes of Louisiana, there were no indigenous tribe signing treaties with the French to come into their own land. Why? Because they were already in the land before the French came into play. You understand? So again, the Shaktas, they had to
Okay,
sign
what
a
is the name of
treaty
that
to
treaty
get
that you're
access
citing?
to Louisiana. Go look it up.
What is
Go
the
look
name
up
of
the
that?
seven. The
What is
main.
the
Go
name of
search
that
it up.
treaty?
Go
What is
look
I
it up,
will.
sir.
I will.
Go look it up.
What's the name of the treaty?
I gave you the
What is
time. I gave you the details and I gave the name of the European period. Go look it up, bro. The Shakhtar Treaty of the 1700s, Louisiana. The Shakhtar Louisiana Treaty with the French of the 1700s. Go look it up, bro. Go look it up.
okay?
Like
I'll
y'all
look it
come
up.
out here speaking about history, bro. You
I'll
don't
look
even know
that
any
up.
single thing about indigenous Shakhtar history, bro.
You know what? Listen, man. Listen, man. There are lots of details about your people that I'm sure you are probably hazy about, right?
Bro, I'm saying you're
So
wrong.
if someone hold up, if someone puts you on an inquisition and you stutter or stammer through any detail, no matter how large or how small, should they determine that you have no idea about who you
You
claim
didn't
to be?
stammer, bro. You did not
No, that's
stammer.
not fair.
You
That's
didn't
not
stammer,
fair.
bro.
If we're
You didn't stammer. You said fake history. You said Bolivia. You said Louisiana. That's a very long stammer, bro. You get a bunch of false histories. Again, the Shakhtar people, they never stepped foot in Louisiana before.
I'm not
Bro,
responsible.
the Shakhtar
I'm not
again,
responsible for
bro.
what you
I'm
don't know.
saying, bro, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're giving wrong information. You're
I'm not responsible for
You're
what you
responsible for giving wrong information, sir. The Shakhtar
are.
Indians,
You're
they had to
responsible.
sign a treaty to get access to Louisiana. Go look it up,
You
sir.
are
Go look
responsible
it up.
for what
Mid 1700s, Shakhtar Treaty of Louisiana. Go
you
look it
haven't
up.
learned that.
Don't know any single thing. You're not indigenous, bro. You're not indigenous, sir. So again, if you're a so-called Shakhtar Indian, what is your indigenous origin story? Speak your language for your origin story. The Shakhtas have a detailed indigenous origin story. Tell us your origin story, bro. As a Shakhtar Indian, what's your origin story?
Are you?
And show your
You
enrollment.
can talk. You can talk. Let him answer the question. Go ahead. You can unmute your mic and reply.
Are you done badgering me, Gummy? Are you done badgering
I'm
me,
not
Gummy?
badgering, bro. I'm
That's all
correcting
you
the
do is badger.
misinformation.
That's why can't nobody win with you, because you just badger. 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 You just
Man, stop
Oh my
crashing out, bro.
God.
Stop crashing out, man. Little girl.
badger. You
Stop
just.
crashing out, little girl.
Wow.
Little indigenous
That's all you do.
Bolivian Shakhtar Mississippian girl. Stop crashing out, man. Come on, bro. Let's go
So
that
here
way,
it
sir.
is. So
Stop
here it
crashing out.
is. So here it is. So here it is. So here it is. Because I'm under Article 14 of the Treaty of Dancer Rabbit Creek. I don't need to enroll into a
My
tribe.
boy is stammering, bro. You're
I am a
stammering, bro.
non-removed
Sir,
American.
why are you stammering? Look, let him talk. Don't meet his mic. Can talk. Don't meet his mic.
I am
Again,
a
sir.
non-removed.
Sir,
I am a
can we
non-removed
get
American Indian under Article 14 of the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek.
we don't know your recitation, sir. Can we get back to you saying that you're a Shakhtar
I do not
Indian?
need to
Can we
enroll.
get back to you mentioning you're a Shakhtar Indian that migrated from
not.
Bolivia? Can you show us any single historical proof? If you're saying the Shakhtar Indians migrated from Bolivia, show us one single archaeological relic of the Shakhtar Indians ever stepping foot in Bolivia. Again, forget about that, bro. Keep on, just mention what region is Bolivia, bro. What region of the Americas is Bolivia located at, bro? A very simple preschool question. What region is Bolivia located at in America? What region?
Central.
I didn't ask you, Slim. I didn't ask Central. So answer the question. Coke, are you gonna take the words of pretending, bro? What region is Bolivia located at, bro? What region?
Hey, man.
What do you mean, man?
What country are you in?
Bro, answer my question, man. What do you mean,
What country are you in? What country are you in, Gummy?
I'm in Quebec.
What country
sir. I
are you
live
in,
Quebec.
Gummy?
I'm indigenous Quebecian. I'm from the Sissenassapee tribe, bro. I'm Blackfoot Indian, bro. Answer my question, sir. What region is
Were you
Bolivia
in Canada?
at? Yeah, I'm indigenous
You're a
in Canada,
Canadian?
bro. Yeah, I'm a plain Creek Indian, bro. So answer my question. Stop deflecting, sir. Answer my question.
That's what I'm saying, bro. So you know,
Answer my
so
question,
if you are these people, so if you these people, then you know the relationship between the red people, the Creek, the Chickasaw, and the Choctaw.
I never said
as far
Creek.
as north, as
I never
Canada.
said Creek.
So
I said
what are you
Creek.
talking?
I didn't say Creek. I said I'm a Creek. I didn't say Creek, sir. I said Creek.
But all five people are the red people, though. But we are
I
the
never
red
said
people,
Creek
though.
Indian, bro. I never said Creek.
But we're the
Where did you
red
ever say
people, though,
Creek?
bro.
No,
But
we're
we're
not,
the
bro. You're
red. But we're
pretending.
the red people,
We're not
bro.
the same people, sir. You're
That's what I'm
pretending.
saying, man. You get to tell everybody who they are, huh? You Walter Plecker in the
Nah, he
21st
just said
century.
it.
You
He
Walter
just said it.
Plecker.
We ain't just saying
You Walter Plecker. You
guys are
Walter Plecker.
fraudulent. You're a
Yeah,
fraud.
sure.
You
Walter
Walter
Plecker.
Plecker.
You're a
So hold on, so
fraud.
hold on. So
Walter
what about
Plecker.
Walter Plecker? So hold on. So what? How did Walter Plecker affect you, bro?
So
Tell us.
all
How
you
did
Canadians, y'all
Walter
Walter
affect you?
Plecker, huh?
Tell us, how does Walter Plecker apply to this conversation? How does he apply? What did he do to your people?
Y'all
What did he do?
y'all
What did he do?
Canadians get to decide who's American Indian or not, huh? All
What
the
did
way up to
Walter Plecker
Canada,
do
You're
to
a
you, sir?
fraud.
What did Walter Plecker do to you, sir?
That's what I'm saying. Y'all get to say, y'all get this, y'all get to.
Bro, Walter Plecker never reclassified your Indians, bro. He never reclassified any single person. I had a whole video debunking your claims, bro. It's
I'm
gone.
just saying, bro. I'm just saying, bro.
You guys
I'm
can't
just saying,
mention,
bro. I'm just
Go watch
saying.
my last video. You have been debunked, bro. Walter Plecker never reclassified any indigenous people in the same
Y'all
group
get to
as Black
decide
Americans.
who everybody is, huh?
So again, bro.
All
So
y'all
again,
in
I want
Canada
to ask you a
get to
question, sir.
decide
Hold
who
on.
everybody
I want to
is.
ask you a question again. Where can we find this archaeological evidence of the Shakhtar Indians coming from Bolivia? Where can we find again? Bolivia is not in Central America.
Everybody
Go
in
back to school.
Canada. Everybody in Canada.
Bro,
Everybody in Canada.
stop deflecting. I ask you a question. Where can we find archaeological
I'm asking
evidence
you a
of the
question.
Shakhtar Indians being in Bolivia, sir? Where can we find that evidence? But when it comes to the Shakhtar Indians, there's no mention of Bolivia in the
I'm
origin
asking
story,
you the
bro.
question too. Y'all
Answer
get
the
to
question,
decide who
sir.
everybody is.
Answer the question, bro. Where can we find these Bolivian Shakhtar Indians, bro?
Have you
Where can
done
we
my
find them?
genealogy?
Where can we
Have you
find
done my
these?
genealogy?
Where
I
can
haven't
we
done.
find these Bolivian Shakhtar Indians, bro? A
You
simple
done my.
question.
Playing
Have you done
Seminole
my
in New
genealogy?
Jersey, didn't
Where
you?
can we
Have you done my
find
genealogy?
these Bolivian?
Have you done my?
I'm gonna drop you because you ain't ready for conversation. Come on when
You
you're
done.
ready to have conversation, bro. Like I said, come back when you're ready. So you're not ready. You came out there crashing and repeat. You're playing the same stuff like a broken concept, bro. Answer the question. You came out. You say you're so-called a black Indian that's coming from Bolivia. Bolivia, and this coconut cassava brain head Slim said Bolivia is a country in Central America. You guys are dumb as a bag of bricks, Slim. You're dumb as a bag of arcade cola nuts in West Africa, bro. Go back to school, Slim.
Oh my gosh.
So the so-called Shakhtar Indians, they were in South America in the tropical Amazon plains. So again, the Shakhtar Indians were migrating from the tropical plains of South America all the way to Louisiana and quote unquote Mississippi. Wow, this is no history, bro. Like this is actual newfound knowledge, bro. Like the Shakhtar Indians were quote unquote inhabiting the Amazons. They were in the Amazons of Bolivia, literally scavenging through the forest. How? This new information, bro. How about you come out here and show us a source that backs up these so-called Amazon Shakhtar Indians that were in South America, sir? Come out and let's see those Amazon
My
Shakhtar
bad.
Indians.
All right. This South America. I say
I
Central.
mean, you don't know anything. So I don't expect more
But
from
I
you.
don't know the white man borders either.
Borders. That's not, bro. That's geography, bro. That's not borders.
Yeah, man. Stop being weird, bro.
Me being weird, but you're calling Bolivia Central America. Okay.
Yo, you know the last time I was on your live, I got 2 strikes.
Because you be cursing all the time. I'm gonna drop you because you have to be suspicious. Anytime you come on the panel, you be flagging the live. I don't know why. Yeah, so again, Shakhtar, Mississippian, what is her name? China. Yesterday, bro, pretenders, you guys don't have simple geography. Like I said, you guys are the ones that, I feel like you guys, these kind of people are the ones that most European people and most African people encounter when they meet Americans. And they say, oh, these Americans don't know geography because they mostly come to meet a lot of these pretenders. So again, you guys don't know simple geography, bro. China came out and calling Mexico South America. Now today, there's a pretender saying that, oh, the Shakhtar Indians are from South America, and Slim is calling Bolivia Central American. Like, you guys are cooked, man. I love you guys are cooked mentally.
My bad. It's South America. It's still America, right?
It's the America.
You ain't from here.
Neither are you. And you know what?
Neither are
I'm
you.
not
You came
from
from the
here.
barren
Shut
straight
up,
man. So
Chaos.
stop.
I was
No,
born
you
in
shut
New
up.
Jersey. What are you talking about?
With your fat back ass.
You be quiet, little brat.
Fat. I'm 6'4" with no
Yes,
fat.
Indians are. You guys have ugly souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you.
Imagine living your
Yeah,
whole life with a
Shana,
YT
chill
man's
with the cursing.
gaze.
Don't get dropped. Come on. Yeah. Yeah, so like I said all the time, illiteracy is sadly, I feel like the main cause of this kind of people is the aftermath of illiteracy. Sadly, illiteracy is actually growing more rampant day by day in America. So therefore, you're going to see a bunch of ignorant, uneducated people come on this panel mistaking their lack of education for being quote-unquote discovering new histories. Again, a pretender thinks just because he calls Mexico South America, that means that he quote-unquote discovered the so-called hidden history of the indigenous South American Mexicans. A lot of these guys is just lack of education. They can't comprehend information. They lack severe basic education.
Wow, you don't know how
About
to type fast.
identifying
It's slow.
America on a map, if you give them a world map, it is statistically known that it is very difficult, for most Americans of all ages to identify their own country on a map. And we don't say that to be insulting. We do that because it shows they don't teach you anything about the rest of the world. Only you. Right? And they don't teach you the origins of America, the original peoples. No, they teach you the colonized version that y'all cling to so much. And somehow your history seems to only pick up when the white man got here, which is really, it's quite embarrassing that you cling to America so hard. And it doesn't exist. It's not real. It's not really real.
The world has history. You know that, right?
The concept of America is man-made, meaning it's not a natural.
Look up the German records with the African kings that were captured.
African kings in America, they were what? I think what's weird about that claim is like people in Africa didn't have a reason to leave Africa because it's Africa. Because she has everything.
Why did they call her African?
She needs and more. Apparently, the rest of the world likes to dip in and take that too. Yeah. So what would encourage Africans to leave?
They only call us African because it's racist.
That's not true. Here comes the man that's calling
You don't know. Stop.
Oh my gosh. Being called African is not racist. What?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Somebody African that's not African.
You're African. So we're not going to do this back and forth, Shana.
You're African,
Shana,
not us. You are.
Every single day, you get a lot of free education on this planet. So come on. Just be less.
What education are you teaching? You're pulling us back, sir. We're trying to go forward.
Pulling you back.
How are you trying to go forward by being on TikTok, claiming to be indigenous? What are you doing?
Ma'am? You can stop crying. You've been crying for 2 hours.
Oh, of course. That's all you can say about us, right? That we're crying because we speak back to you. Damn. You're the one up here crying to be indigenous, begging and pleading.
I'm not trying to be indigenous.
To be accepted.
I'm not you.
Stop
what I'm asking you, you're accusing Gummy of holding you back. You're saying you're moving forward. Please educate us on how you're moving forward on TikTok, claiming to be indigenous. How are you making any moves whatsoever?
Do you realize, Gummy, the ugliness, the nasty vibes this female brings in here every time?
You're the only one who's nasty.
Disgusting.
You're the only one who's nasty.
Calling people YT and Asian.
You are.
See what I mean?
The truth don't mean I'm nasty. I told you the truth.
Because it's rude. I never talk about how you're mixed and why you're the color you are.
Okay, ma'am. No,
because it's rude.
One at a time. Come on.
Like I meant specifically to the copper color. So thank you.
Are you the color of
the copper color you claim? I am actually. Yes,
you're not.
I was born copper color. You should see my childhood photos. And you know what? I specifically at this age, I don't go in the sun. I have tattoos that are expensive that mean a lot to me. Also, I'm considered like quote unquote emo goth style. So like. I don't like the direct heat myself at this age, right? I'm older now, I'm 41. And, so there's lots of reasons why. But if I need to go in that sun, I'll become copper colored. I tan, I don't burn.
Damn.
I don't know anyone with melanoma.
Right now.
Nobody with skin cancer in my family or anyone in my community.
You guys make up lies. You're lying,
you make up lies. And you forget that our skin tones match the North American
you're
sun.
Lying, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Your skin does not change according to the seasons.
You're not copper at all.
No, there's 4 seasons on these lands, ma'am. And your skin cannot adapt to any of them. It cannot. Ours does. You don't go outside. That's why we're different shades, baby girl. Because this sun, the North American sun, shines at different levels in the horizon, honey. Just look at the sky and it'll tell you that.
China, come on.
Yeah, anyway, go ahead.
You're not copper.
China.
Not copper colored people. Yes, we are. Thank you.
Ma'am.
We are. Yes, I am.
Hold on. One at a time. Yeah, man. Yeah, these are twin. This is Shannon's
You
twin.
always over talking people because you be trying to get your lies out.
So why don't you tell us about your people?
She ain't gonna talk. She's
You
scared.
want to
She's
know,
scared of
Dean?
them.
What do you?
I want to know where your people are from here in the Americas pre-Columbian era. Tell us who they
She's
are.
scared.
There
She's
you
scared. She
Dean,
ain't
right
gonna
there.
mention that.
No, I want
That's our
to know who
cousins.
these people are. I want to know how your people are indigenous to this land. All you pretendians. Show us some archaeological evidence.
You calling me a pretendian is absurd.
No. Show us some archaeological evidence that y'all people were here.
Why do I have to show you anything? Why?
Oh, right now, so you're up here grilling somebody else, but right now I'm asking you, why can't you show it?
Yeah, I told her she wasn't copper.
No,
And
why?
next,
So who are you?
a copper color Negro.
Oh, really? So where are your ancestors
Girl,
from?
come on. You know you can't say that word. You're gonna get blocked. Like last warning. Come on. Can't say that word.
So where are your
My
ancestors?
bad, I keep forgetting. Why we can't say that word?
For TikTok, what is wrong with you? You can't say that word.
Where are your archaic ancestors from?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not answering no questions.
You know why you can't answer that? No,
She's
none of
scared.
y'all.
She's scared.
No, Kate, I'm
She's
not.
scared.
Because who
She's
are
scared.
Why are
you?
you up here? Why are you up here? You're up here struggling for an identity, aren't you?
Exactly.
What identity? I want my identity well.
You pretendians and wobbles up here struggling for an identity.
Say that word.
Never be a wobble. I can never be.
Wobble want to be
No,
Aboriginal. That's what y'all are.
hold
Y'all
on.
have-
And what are you?
Hold on, one at a time. Then we can't say that with TikTok flag that
I can't say that word. I thought.
Gotta say pretendian. That is more accurate.
But you pretendians ain't even got a history. Tell us a story about your people.
One thing I noticed about you, you let that tribal card get to your head, man.
that
Cut it
tribal
out.
card,
Knock
my
it
tribal
off.
card.
Knock it off.
You guys are
Knock
jealous
it
of
off.
them.
You ain't in
You guys are jealous of them. You're
Pretendians
jealous of
don't even
them.
have a flag.
Jealous,
Y'all don't
jealous
even
of
have
him.
a flag to even
His people
call
sold out.
fraudulent, jealous little girl.
So why are you on this
It's
channel?
only one fraudulent.
That's what she
Your
Like
is.
to me,
people paid
like to me,
$5 to
struggling
get
for an
on the
identity.
dog's roll, man.
So why are
Hush.
you up here struggling for an identity, right? You trying to convince everybody that you're indigenous, but you don't even have a story.
Trying to convince y'all?
You don't have no damn. You ain't got.
We
nothing.
not trying to convince you, baby.
Come on, y'all ain't got.
We
nothing.
not trying to convince
Y'all
you.
ain't got nothing.
Who are you?
Y'all
You
got
ain't
nothing.
nobody
Y'all-
to
y'all-
convince,
you know what?
baby.
Y'all don't even have a
You
story
ain't
to tell.
nobody to
You don't
convince.
have nothing but all
You
y'all
ain't
doing is
nobody
all
to
y'all doing is up
convince.
here freestyle.
You ain't nobody to convince. At the end of the day, Dean, I don't know why you love to sit up here and try to trophy your tribal card around like we care. Like you don't understand what happened with the one
Jealous.
drop rule down
Jealous.
here in the South. Ain't nobody jealous of no Dean, and we darn sure ain't jealous of you, Gummy, because for one, we grew here, you flew here. You're trying to be what we are. So get back, get out of our way. Stop competing with our black scholars on this app because you ain't them and you ain't convinced us. We ain't from Africa. Get over it. Nobody cares about y'all having travel cards. We already know how you got them. Your people paid those $5 and got on them, and y'all are descendants of those $5 people today. We don't care about none of that. And tell me some fighting for an identity. I've always known who I was, and it wasn't no African. So get over yourself.
Man, you don't know who the heck you are, okay? If you knew who the heck you are, you wouldn't be struggling this hard. You wouldn't be up on these lives trying to convince everybody that who you really are, okay? And furthermore, what group of black people during the 1800s paid $5 to the Dawes Commission to become $5 Indians? Explain that. Explain that. I mean, this is all y'all do is come up on. I'm so embarrassed with y'all, man. So here's the thing, young lady, that one drop rule does not exist today. Okay, get over that one drop rule. That stuff was outlawed in 1967. Walter Plecker, one drop rule. You're still going by this old ass one drop rule and Racial Integrity Act that doesn't even exist. So if you are so high and mighty on who you are, then why are you up on this live?
I'm on this live because your boy Gummy keeps inviting me. Every time I hit the decline button,
Everybody
he
invites
invites
me.
me
You're
again.
literally in the comment section
Okay?
spamming like a
I
little
be
girl.
in the
Everybody invites me.
comment section
You be
popping my
spamming
gum
like
and just
not
trolling.
really.
Okay?
You
And
be
I
comment. You be in the comment sections trolling.
got
I literally call you
screenshots
Congolese.
of Gummy sending me invitations. So
Yeah,
don't worry about why I'm over
yeah.
here.
I'm honestly wondering why is this Congolese girl obviously in the comment section talking about
Congo.
Yeah, you are Congolese. Look at your face, man. Look at your
Mississippi is
nose.
not in Congo.
It is in
You
Congo.
wish I was
It's in
Congo.
Kinshasa.
You
It
wish
is
I
in
was.
Kinshasa.
You know what's really interesting about this? Here it is, a young man from the African continent that's not even 30 years old yet, and he's actually handing y'all's tails between y'all's behind. He's actually got y'all's tails between y'all behind. That is so interesting and hilarious. I get a kick out of this.
Yeah, I think your Wi-Fi is going on. She got that Mississippian Wi-Fi. Got that
I get a
Mississippi
kick out of
Congolese
this,
Wi-Fi.
man. You got a young man from the
tell black people who they are.
continent of Africa.
You get a kick out of
and
trying to keep us suppressed down.
None of y'all don't even. I mean, the majority of y'all don't
Ain't
even
no
know
none
your
of y'all
history.
nothing.
This is embarrassing, man. Y'all are embarrassing me. I'm embarrassed for y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all should, you know what?
Yeah, whatever.
You know what?
We don't care about none of that no more.
Like
We don't
you,
care.
People like you should be teaching me. People
We
like you
don't
should be
care
teaching
about
me.
your tears.
This is crazy, man. Y'all come up on this live.
We've proved to
what
y'all
it is-
over and over on this
No, you
app.
ain't proved nothing. You ain't proved nothing.
You study
know what?
trying
You
to
ain't
sit
proved
around here.
nothing.
You're worried
Y'all
about
have
chief
no
sexual.
economic growth. You know what? You know what? Y'all don't have
You're
no
worried
economic
about
growth.
trying to take Chief Warhorse down.
Y'all don't have no what?
Hold on.
sir.
Hold on. Gotta, bro,
No. You just don't like the fact that I'm telling the truth about you.
She gotta go.
Any one of y'all want to come up here and dialogue with me about being indigenous to this land? I want to see y'all's documents.
Hello.
I'll show y'all mines, and y'all show me y'all's. Come on. Any one of you pretenders.
Hello.
Yeah,
This is asinine, man.
How you doing today?
Is why does she say that, Dean, you and Gummy and these lives are supposedly keeping them down and oppressing them? But what's wild is they can turn around and call Kat and I and other people who identify as indigenous, call us all kinds of, weaponized racial terms and somehow erase us in order for them to take our place, but then be like accusing people of oppressing them.
But they keep coming.
I'm blown away.
They continue to keep coming up here all hours of night, getting their tails handed to them. Their rear ends handed to them. This is fun, man. I ain't lying. I've never seen nothing like this. This is the first time I've ever met anyone from the continent of Africa push Americans' tails between their behind like this. This young man is making history. Y'all are embarrassing me.
How you all doing today?
As a history major and a minor in Indigenous American Studies, a lot of y'all are embarrassing me. I've never seen nothing like this. I mean, seriously, this will go down in history, in my book. Because none of y'all can come up here and refute everything he's saying. Anything he's saying, y'all don't even have the mental capacity to refute anything he's saying. I just be sitting back looking at y'all like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's just lack of education at this point. And the thing is that I feel like they feel like them being American, that quote unquote validates their delusions. I feel like when they first come on the panel, like, oh, this dude is obviously African. I can lie about me being Cherokee. So like, oh, let me just go deceive this African dude. And when they get smacked by a bunch of sources, they're like, hell nah. Why you know so much, dude? Aren't you African? So like that kind of shockwave basically goes through their brains anytime they come out this panel. Mostly the new pretenders. Yeah.
And this is insane, man. Every person I've seen from the African continent, most of them go to different countries. They live in different countries, and they can speak different languages around the world within a matter of months. Not even a year it takes them to be proficient in those languages. Well, what I'm trying to figure out what is wrong with y'all, man?
They're
This is crazy.
sorry, they
man.
have the European DNA that's causing the glitch.
It's crazy. Wow.
Oh shoot.
It's chaotic, man.
Yeah, and those people who are well-traveled, well-versed, they're cultured, one thing they would never do is imagine overtaking or erasing another group of people. Simply because of those experiences they shared with other people, you share in their joys and their pain. in their strengths and their challenges and flaws. And that's why you have the utmost respect for people when you learn from multiple perspectives, especially traveling and going to different places and learning new languages. You learn the purpose behind that language. You learn about the people when you learn their language. You truly do, and it's a gift. And you're right. What's wrong with them? It's because they lack that, beyond the self, right? Like in Buddhism, they believe that there's a self and a non-self, right? And they teach us that when you work with children, youth, and families, especially Indigenous ones or ones that are marginalized or experiencing marginalization, you have to learn about the self and the non-self before you can go help people who've been traumatized and abused. You can't just waltz in there and think you're gonna be some savior and save them. They don't need to be saved. They need someone to sit with them in the dark and be there.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, if you get some of these 5th graders up here, 3rd graders, 5th graders up here, I mean, I would just sit back and just, wow. They would probably push me in. These 5th graders.
Yeah, man, literally.
This is crazy.
A lot of them are coming out. I feel like at this point, once 2nd grade education, as a person that person that tutors. Yeah, as a person that tutors young kids from the age of to the youngest age of 10 years old to 17, I would say a lot of those kids are actually very smarter than a lot of these guys. And I'm saying comprehension skills itself, that is very low. So again, even though you as a person don't understand something, if you can comprehend information, me as a person, I will advise you to basically develop your comprehension skills first before you start reading a book. Because if you can't comprehend what is in the book, it's just like you just reciting information that you don't understand. So a lot of these guys, they lack comprehension skills. Literally, they can't comprehend. They have a comprehension skill of a goldfish. Literally, they can't comprehend any single information.
This is true. Lack comprehension skills. Wow.
And what's worse, AI is only perpetuating that. It's only making it worse for them. They don't have to read anything now. They can just ask AI. Believe me, I think these are all systemic attacks on our knowledge as human beings, on our ability to cultivate this knowledge, record it.
It's literally an attack to control knowledge and where they're funding it through.
Limited.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, it's kind of funny that Dina is literally a history major. This guy has spent all his life reading books, and some young kid pretending just goes to ChatGPT and say, "Oh, we're Black Americans Indian," and he says, "Oh yes, Black Americans were the Indians because having settlement cells." So that means that quote unquote that young kid has more information than Dean. So when it comes to ChatGPT and a lot of this AI, it's basically dumbing down the younger generation of Black people. Literally, it's like a pseudo website.
Yeah, well, look at the attacks on cursive writing. They can't read analog clocks anymore. There's a reason for that, and where analog clocks come from, right? And what that circle, the dials, think about, right? What that all connects to. So if they slowly, systematically, and on that as well, get rid of each of those ways, those ties that we have to natural knowledge, meaning that we can observe the sun and where it is in the horizon to determine, is it evening, afternoon, morning, right? Is that the sunrise or the sunset?
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the kicker part. When these pretendians are claiming that this is their land, they've been here forever, for thousands of years. If you ask one of them to name at least 2 of the 5 Great Lakes, I guarantee you a lot of them can't even name 2 of the 5 Great Lakes in America.
Yeah, they're gonna say Mississippi because that's the first on their mind.
Yeah, or they can't even tell you. And here's the thing: this is something I've learned in, what was that in middle school? The centermost part of the United States. Centermost part of the United States. Majority of these pretendians can't even tell you that. So this is their country. They were already here. America's the motherland. Well, newsflash for you pretendians. Where's the cradle of humankind located in America? I'd like to know where the cradle of humankind is located. Can one of y'all come up here and tell me where the cradle of humankind is located in the Americas?
It's in my backyard.
It's in my front yard.
It's on the back of a giant turtle.
They also claim that America's the motherland. So where is the cradle of civilization in America, not the cradle of human?
Yeah, they're gonna say Tennessee. They're gonna say Memphis, Tennessee. That's the cradle of humanity.
They'll say Memphis. Yeah, Memphis. They'll say Memphis. Oh man,
Oh man,
this is
Grand Canyon.
I'm truly embarrassed literally every day listening to this crap with these people, man. They come up here, they love picking on Africans, they love picking on indigenous Americans. But I guarantee you, when I come up on my live, none of these people won't come up on my live and challenge me with this crap. I don't know, for some reason, even though Gummy tucks their tail between their behind, they still feel more comfortable by coming up in here. I don't know, for some reason.
Yeah.
He has
Because
direct
they
ties
get a chance to
to
talk. That's the
Africa.
issue. They get a chance to talk.
Yeah,
So what they
I
don't,
think that's what it is.
yeah,
Because for me,
they be
though,
going on there.
Hey,
They be going on there behind every single word he said. It says, "Where your kid asses was that, bro?"
I'm gonna delete them from my live.
Gummy
There's only
brother.
very few
hey,
of them that I feel comfortable.
Gummy
hey,
brother.
Dean.
I want to say one thing, Gummy brother. That's my brother, you know.
Yes,
And
sir.
speaking to the beautiful, the beautiful queen up top with the red, you know, because I
Yes,
want to
yes.
make sure, I want her to know that I'm not disrespecting her. I try to engage in a conversation with her before, but whatever happened, happened. I want to let her know that I'm not coming against her. I asked her a question because I want to let her know something. And I hope you guys don't think it's always coming back on me, but I'm just letting you know from my experience. And the reason I asked you that question, right? Because if you're from up north, Canada, I could tell you one thing. I have family from the Caribbean. They went straight to Canada. Their experience is quite different because there was a time when my family wanted me to go to Canada, right? For a lot of reasons, you know, whether it was health insurance and all that or college to pay for. They said, Ron, go to North. I said, okay, cool. But my cousins there, when they used to come down, I was like, here's what I'm saying. I know my first moments of being racially profiled before it was even a case of being profiled, because I'm an older dude. So racially profiled with police was nothing. No one knew about that till probably to the first case that happened in New Jersey. If you guys want to do the research, then follow
Yeah, I
what I'm
remember
saying.
that. Absolutely.
All right. So let me finish my point. I just want to finish my
Just be
point.
quiet. Be quiet. I'm on your side.
Yeah, but no. I'm just saying. It's okay. But brother, why you want to say be quiet when I'm speaking my
When I
piece?
said I remember that, and you just crashed out. Be quiet. Be cool.
All right. So I asked her. Well, you weren't there when the question I asked her. I asked her something.
How
You
you know I
weren't there.
wasn't living in New Jersey? I lived in Jersey. So don't. Bro,
All
be
right, so
quiet.
let me finish my point. Why the animosity, bro?
No, because you
Bro,
started it
what
with
is
that
your point,
mouth
brother?
of
What
yours.
is your point? Bro, we didn't ask for all that, bro. What is your
No,
point,
I'm
bro?
speaking. First of all,
Where we heading to,
this
bro?
is
Where's the
directed
plane heading
this
to,
is
bro? Where's the
directed
direction of
towards
the
my
flight, bro?
sister up
Where's the
top.
direction heading to? Hold on, bro. We went from you speaking about you having a family in Canada to you getting racial profile to you coming from the Caribbean. So, like, where's the plane heading to? Just diverting all around the American continent, but where's he heading to, though? Like, where we heading to?
He's FBA.
I want you see, that's your perception, naturally, and it's okay. But if you know my history, you know that's not what I'm about. And I just want to finish my point. But I get interrupted all the time. I don't get to finish my point. Yeah, and fine. I
Yeah.
get
So,
it.
if you go to the
So
word
let me just finish.
point is a dot, bro. Dot and point the same thing, bro. So it doesn't take that long to put a dot on a paper.
All right, that's fair. I'll leave it at that.
No, I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. Now,
Nah, it's all right. What's
your point?
It's all right. It's okay.
Hey, ain't you the guy?
I
Was
digress.
you?
I digress.
Hey, real prop. Was you the guy yesterday who said we excavate plastic? Was that him, Nunya?
No, it wasn't him. It was the one that said he referred to African languages as roots. He called African languages roots. He said, I don't speak roots language. So that's crazy, man. I said I don't speak indigenous American languages, nor did I speak roots language. I'm like, bro, what the hell is a root language? He said he's referencing African languages to the slave movie Roots. Like, that's crazy.
Oh, jeez.
You know, the superhero admiration, savior complex, you know, and superiority. And honestly, it's quite sad because It reminds me of like a personality disorder where if you are ashamed enough and put down enough, you have to create like your own alternate reality where you're the best. You know, that is really sad because that's a coping mechanism of the brain. That is literally the only way that that person can like continue and go on and survive, because they have been shamed beyond repair. They've been disregarded and their feelings invalidated every step of the way throughout development. So what ends up happening is that they inflate their egos, right? They have grandiose, I think is the word. Again, I always like, my brain doesn't like to remember. Grandiose, thank you. Yes, my brain, like I know how to pronounce it, my brain just doesn't like to retain that for some reason. Like, oh look, a goldfish. Oh look, a goldfish. When it comes to terms. But anyway, yeah, exactly, right? They and it is that inflated sense of self that literally does save people in dire experiences of trauma and harm. And what the thing is that happens though is eventually that trait, that personality trait, is no longer useful. So maybe they grow up, they move out of the home, and they're away from the abuse. So now they're no longer in need of but unfortunately, they can't separate themselves from that now. So they'll go on to, again, it's all surface level. It looks good on paper, but underneath, that is a very sad, insecure, lonely person who does not have a sense of themselves. And I'm not saying everyone's like that. I'm just saying that's typically what is going on here. That is why you have arrogance. You have people who just imagine walking up to someone and being like, you're black or you're white, but you're saying it in a way that's like degrading. Yeah.
What in the chat?
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say? Oh, you guys, I'm so
said
sorry.
white. It has to be white tea.
Oh, okay. Oh man, that's not one I usually sip up on.
So hold on a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Pam, welcome to the panel. I know you've been up here before. I just want to make sure you had a chance to say what you needed to say. Oh,
she ran.
No, she's a sweet lady.
Oh,
yeah.
I need the one that okay.
Say one thing, host. Gummy, might I say one thing, please? This is the last thing I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna do my own thing because I'm.
Say it in
I gotta
one
be
sentence.
okay. Yeah. Okay. This is one thing I said.
So hold on. No, Pam has been on the panel like 3 different times. Let's give her a chance to Pam to talk. I think she's been on the panel like 3 different times. So go ahead, Pam, introduce yourself and say what you want to say.
How are you doing today, Gummy?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yes, I was on here a couple of days before, and we were talking, and I did some research. And first of all, I want to say thank you for having me up, and I want to apologize to you. I went back and I did some research, and what I did is I went and looked up the word Negro, and I went to my birth certificate. The Negro, if you have Negro, I was born in 1950.
Hold on, Pam, hold on. So y'all
Yes.
repeat. When we're on TikTok, I think it's a little bit sensitive to those words. So y'all say the N word just for TikTok. And y'all say the N-word.
Okay, sweetheart. The N word. And I got my birth certificate out, and I went in the dictionary and I looked up the word, the N word. And if you have that on your birth certificate, that means that you are a descendant from Africa. And I want to apologize to you and thank you for making me go back and do a little research. That's all I wanted to say. So with that being said, if your birth certificate says Negro, that means you are a descendant from Africa.
Yeah, Pam. Yeah, and I 100% agree with you. And I would say you don't need to apologize to me because I feel like that's what I just come on this life to do, to basically educate people and certain. Like, I feel like when it comes to some black people that come on this panel daily, they are confused. Not all of them come in the terms of hatred. Some of them comes in the terms of them being a little bit confused. So there's nothing wrong with anybody getting confused. This panel is to educate people. It's not to disparage anybody that obviously gets a little bit confused. I'm actually glad I actually took your time to go examine the words and do your own research for your own identities. I'm actually glad that you accepted that you come from Africa, because that's what this panel is all about, just educating black people on where they come from and their roots. So yeah, so I'm actually glad that you went to go do your research. That shows how you as a person you can do your own intellectual study when it comes to you understanding your own self-identity. So that's a good step forward for you.
And thank you. And I want to say to the young ladies, you all be respectful to each other. Uh, it doesn't look good for us queens to be arguing with each other. Just be respectful to each other.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, man. So this was panel. I'm actually glad y'all can actually see this in 5, and this is what more of you, more Black Americans should do. If you as a person is a little bit confused on this panel, after you get the correction, don't be so angry to go do some research. And this lady obviously did her own research, and I got to basically commendate her for that, because usually in this modern world, people don't really want to do their own personal research. They either just take something with a grain of salt, or they don't really go do their own research. I'm actually glad this lady obviously came back to say, hey, I've done my own personal research. Now I agree with what I was being told earlier before. Yeah, so that just shows the growth of a person. When you as a person can go do your own research and understand your roots and be more educated on your self-identity and where you as a Black American come from. Yeah, so I'm actually glad that she actually got the bigger picture about what we're trying to say to her last time. Yeah, that's nice.
Yes, and if I'm 70, if I'm 70 years old, if I can go and do the research, not get angry about it, everybody else should be able to do that.
Really important, one of the things that I've learned just in my life's journey and I picked up along the way, and also that I use when I work with families and kids and youth, and it's that we can't hate the experiences that shape us. We can't hate the ancestors that came before us, because when you vibrate from that level, when you operate and live your life on that level of rejection, like you're not going to succeed. You're not going to reach for your potential. You're not going to achieve your dreams, because you are stuck in, or the person is stuck in a loop of again, rejection of self. They can't come to terms with how they feel. They reject how they feel instead of acknowledging. Again, I recommend the feelings wheel all the time, because most people don't know how to identify what they're feeling. They don't understand what is actually bothering them and why. They just react, right? But anyway, I digress, and I think just to your point, ma'am, and thank you for everything, that yes, you got to do those things and not be mad about it. Yeah.
Well, the problem
Love the
is,
self.
though, is it's all part of the growing, learning process of this journey of healing, because the ancestors are crying out, and through us, that's what's coming out. And when they are continually being denied to find that closure, it is up to us to heal that. And when we're not doing that, that's why our ancestors are they're screaming. They're still in pain. And when these individuals are still so angry, you wonder why. They need to break that. They need to heal. But until they...
Yes, and our ancestors been cutting up. They are not happy.
And make sure you record her testimony there.
And she was on another panel that I was on, and I was like,
I'm for sure post it for sure. 7 hours. Yes, I got the timestamp. I'm gonna post for sure my story. I feel like this kind of moment should be posted more in the same.
I remember you, Pam. You were on another panel that you and I were both on, and I'm so glad you come in here and expressed your experience with Gummy.
Yes, and I think you were on the panel where I did say to the host, and I mentioned Gummy, and I said that I need to go back and apologize. Was were you on that panel?
Yes, I was on that panel too.
So okay, yes.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Hey, Gummy, bro, got a new meme, man. We gotta start throwing this up, man, for some of these long win.
Exactly. People like real property. Like you cannot bloody, bro. So I see we have like almost like 10 pretendians in the comments, bro. Come on, bro. Y'all are coming out and claim to be quote unquote indigenous. Don't be a no backbone, wrinkling, Twizzler's ancestor like your your so-called black indigenous people, bro. Come on, bro. Stop being a bunch of cowards. Request for y'all like 10 of you guys in the comment section. Stop being a bunch of comments, battle warriors, bro. Request for.
Gummy, may I say something too? I believe it's the brother Dean. Just let me know if I could do that. Yes or no, and it's okay. That's all I want to do, because I don't know. I don't get to finish my point.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I think it was brother Dean. Dean, I think you're from Jersey, right?
No, I'm from Oklahoma, but I lived in Jersey.
Okay, all right. So I made a statement that you understood when you know about when the profile case came in New Jersey about the state troopers, right?
Yep, driving while black. It started in Jersey. Yep.
All right, I bet that's what it was, and it came out. This is what they were doing this side. Yep. So the only thing I was saying is that, I came up, I hate to say me, I came up because I will feel like it's gonna be like I'm just talking, I'm a narcissist. Everything was said to me today. Everything. Everyone put everything on me today, but it's okay, and I get it. But I'm gonna speak my truth no matter what. So I know here's what I'm saying. And the reason I asked a sister that was up there, I said where she's from, because I want to understand how she came up, at least have some type of understanding in terms of the society that she came up in. That's all I was asking.
Indigenous, yeah.
I know, no, ma'am, you gotta let me finish.
I am going to. I just wanted to say that. That's all. Go ahead.
Right, yeah, but that's not fair. Okay. So with that being said, and I respect that. The reason I asked that, because I want to have an idea. Because I know how it was when they told me to go to Canada. This is my reality. When they say, "Yo, Ron, go to Canada," then I said, "Nah, I'm gonna stay here. I was born here, bred here. I'm gonna stay here." The experiences that I've had here, the experiences that I have, all I'm doing is trying to explain the experiences that I've had. And if we could come to a point where we could say, "Okay, I get his experience. I understand your experience. I understand Dean's experience," because Dean, I said something to Dean that only Dean could relate to.
Okay, bro.
Only Dean could relate to that. So he understands that experience. So I'm just trying to express it and then say, okay, so we grew up this way. This is our reality.
We're perverted. We get it, bro. Yeah, we misunderstand. We get it. So yeah, all kumbaya to Dean, all kumbaya to Nuya. And all kumbaya to the panel from me and you. Yeah, so we all good, bro. Don't worry. So let's go to the next person. Yeah, so this guy in the comment section. Yeah, this it's kind of funny. You have a profile picture of Blade, bro. Blade doesn't like vampires. You pretenders are vampires. Only vampires don't like garlic sauce DNA, bro. So it's kind of around you as a pretending. You have a PF of Blade, bro. So introduce
I thought
yourself,
this
sir.
was a respectful panel.
It is Lil Smitty. Ah, gosh, Lil Smitty.
I thought this was a respectful panel.
Bro, teacher, because you deepen your voice, we can't know
open with disrespect, man.
We know it's you, sir.
But anyway, like I was saying, where's the evidence? Hold on, I got you. Where's the evidence of the out of Africa theory? I've never seen any slave ship evidence or anything like that. Only some documents that could be forged.
Hold on. You do know when it comes to the out of Africa theory, that's referring to the first Homo sapiens coming out of Africa. So why the hell would there be slave ships for?
I'm talking about for us. I'm talking about the origin of us coming from Africa.
It's called the transatlantic slave trade. It's not called the out of Africa theory. So again, the out of Africa theory, that term is meant for the first Homo sapiens stepping foot out of Africa, bro. I'm not trying to insult. I should just help you out.
That's a part of the theory because the trade did not happen the way it's reported.
It did happen, bro. So it did happen. So what kind of evidence do you want? What kind of evidence?
There were no African slaves that came here from Africa.
There were evidence. So again,
they came here as servants.
Hold on, bro. You're saying there's no evidence. And you have evidence. It's weird.
Yeah.
What's the evidence?
There's ship logs, there's ship manifests, there's archaeological remains of the boats.
Forge. No, there's no remains of no boats that can verify. No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
There's no way to tell that they actually came from a slave ship. That's all propaganda,
yeah,
bro.
there is. It's something called carbon dating. They can carbon date a ship to a certain area. So So when it comes to the one of the recent found slave ships, it's called the Clotilda, was found in 2019. I think Melo, you can pull up your screen. I'm trying to busy right now. So the Clotilda was found in 2019. In 2019, again, the diver, again, key point, one of the divers was also an African American. An African American black diver was in the midst of them excavating that slave ship. So again,
He's
you can't come out and
absolutely
say,
nothing.
oh, that he does, because you can't come out and say, oh, it was a white man. It was an African American organization supporting the divers to go into the seas. It was African American organization supporting the divers to go into the seas and excavate those boats, bro. There was an African American diver in the collection excavating that boat. What are you talking about? So how the hell is it propaganda? What are you talking about? You ain't got no sources, bro.
Man, what I said was, just because it's an African American doesn't mean that the report that comes from him is genuine and it wasn't paid. He's not a hireling of a white person that is with the elite to keep up this lie. So I mean that means nothing. That means nothing to me that he's a so-called African American. There are a lot of paid off. There are a lot of sellout African Americans, just like Dean Gullah is a sellout. And he's
you a sellout.
He's a descendant. He's a descendant. He's a descendant of a lineage of sellouts. That's who Dean is.
So tell us about your people. Tell us about your ancestors
yourself, dog.
Hold on.
You are a white.
Right.
Hold on, first. Hold on, man.
You why y'all allowed to talk shit to me?
One at a time. So here, let Dean go. I think he's gonna smoke you behind. That's what I'm gonna say. Let Dean go. He's gonna smoke you.
Only in your opinion, homie.
Come on, I want to hear about your ancestors. Tell us.
I want to hear about y'all. And ain't nobody gave me no evidence of no slave trade of us coming out of slave shit.
Don't answer the question with the question, clown. Answer my question. Let's talk about your ancestors.
Man, you the biggest clown. You fucking sellout. I don't care to hear from you.
You know why you can't talk about your ancestors? Because
I don't care to talk to them about you. You're a sellout. I don't even respect you, bro. What are you talking about?
You can't.
I don't even respect you. Why would I care about anything you have to say? Think about it, man. You're so smart, but you're not thinking. I don't respect you. Why would I?
Tell me a story right now. I want to hear a story.
I'm not smart enough to think that I don't respect you. So why would I care about anything you have to say to me?
None of you clowns can talk about your ancestors.
Sense, man. What you
don't even have a history, son. You don't even have a history. That's why you up here. That's why you up here.
Just because you old enough.
You don't have a history, son.
Dean,
because you old enough to call.
Hold on, guys.
Disrespectful enough to call me son.
Stop. Hold on.
You know what? I'm gonna call you son.
Guys.
Son.
Mute up.
Bro.
And I'm gonna call you sellout. I'm gonna call you sellout because you know you a sellout.
Like you.
Mute up,
Like a nerd when I told you that.
Because I don't think like you.
Mute up.
Because you a sellout.
Hey,
of course you don't think like me.
Mute up, guys. Hold on. I'm yelling over you.
Think like you, son.
I'm the only one getting muted. So talking about some hold on.
Yo. Shush.
Man,
for
just
just a minute.
So hold on.
Give me 1 minute, please.
I got a presentation that can help
Hold on.
Hold on, first. Hold on. Come on. One at a time, bro. Let's not do this shit. That's great. We're all grown adults on this planet. Come on. We're gonna talk about people.
I can't even love,
man.
I got attacked.
Bro, one at a time. You didn't come here to learn, bro. So again, one at a time. We're not gonna talk about issues like a bunch of little children, bro. One at a time. Come on, man. So again, that's somebody make your point. So again, hold on first, Again, you ask a question. Let's deal with the slave ship. You ask where can we find archaeological evidence. Again, I think Mel is gonna do that for you. Right now, I'm kind of busy right now.
Right here, bro, is the sonar image.
Mello, hold on, brother.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Truth, I heard you say the F word. Do not say it again, or I will drop kick you so fast you won't blink. So be careful with your language, please.
You could translate a foot attack on here. That was unnecessary, madam.
I heard you say the F word, so don't do it again. I'm just telling you.
I'll take accountability for that, but that was still unnecessary and over the top. What you said, that was too much of an exaggeration.
You. What's wrong with that?
No, you will drop me off of the panel on TikTok. No kicks will be had in this place.
She will drop kick you. You don't like it? Too bad. Drop kicking. Drop kick
Who
you.
said we'll drop kick you? Oh, you're a sellout. You don't even have a black
Oh,
accent.
you
All
a
right,
little
we not
girl.
about to do
You a
that.
little
Dean,
girl.
don't
You
engage,
lost.
bro. Don't
Hey,
engage,
Dean,
bro.
Dean the one that engaged with me. I know I got
You
under his
lost.
Hey,
skin. I called him out for his lineage.
Right here on the screen is a sonar image showing the wreckage of the Clotilda, the last known slave ship.
Clotilda.
Slave.
Are you serious?
Yes.
The image. How does that? Where's the record? How does that image related to a record?
My God, bro, it's really right there on the screen. If you could just read it. As the search is from Alabama Historical Commission. So if you want to argue with somebody, you can go ahead and argue with the Alabama Historical Commission.
This is a report with the image that you're saying is a record.
It's
that's
a
not with the
sonar,
image.
bro. It is a sonar picture. What do you want? What do you want me to?
Why do you keep on saying? Hold on. Why do you keep on saying it's an? Hold on. Why do you keep on saying it's an image? Why do you keep on saying it's an image, bro? I mean, do you expect him to actually bring up the actual slave ship and write it to your face in your home or something? Like, of course, it's gonna be an image, bro. It's a picture of the actual boat. Why do you keep on saying that? Because why do you keep on saying it's an image?
Boy.
If the boats were strong enough to make it across the most aggressive ocean on the face of the earth, they should still be standing to this day.
Yeah, you're a drunkard. Yeah,
we
okay,
talk
so boats.
Mr.
Boats. Hold on first.
nails and wood, though.
Hold on first.
So, Mr. Truth, why don't you tell us who?
It makes no sense that they had.
Hold on first.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm talking, bro. So again, bro, let's be logical. You're expecting wood on salt water. Again, this boat was mostly dipped in salt water around the 1800s. Wood in salt water from the 1800s should be in perfect condition. Bro, even your sandwich, you cannot even stay in perfect condition for a day. So what are you talking about, sir? So how do you expect wood to be in water and remain in perfect condition like a brand new slave ship? Like, what is wrong with you, bro? It's not a console.
Hold on.
It's not a PC console, bro. It can't be in perfect condition. It's not gonna be a tear
May I
over
answer
condition,
that?
bro. What do you want, bro? Do you want a slave ship that is literally wrapped up in gift wrappings or something? That's that what you want, sir? You want a
No.
slave ship?
Can I
you
answer
want a
that?
slave ship in Christmas wrapping? Then why the hell are you saying it's not in perfect condition? How does that make any sense?
I didn't say a perfect condition. I said there's no remnant of it. It should be whole. You can tell when a ship should be.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me finish. Hold on. Control your emotions,
Finish, bro, because you don't understand how wood decays. You sitting here acting like a grown man, pretending like wood doesn't decay.
Let me say what I got to say. All y'all doing is shooting y'all emotions at me right now, bro. All I'm saying
all we do is
is
shutting down your misinformation. It's not about emotions.
let me get my. I haven't even got my perspective out.
But I'm saying you're saying
not even allowing me to answer.
Your perspective is
It
silly.
doesn't matter what I'm saying. Judge it after I get through saying it. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna not interrupt you. Can you answer me this one question? Does wood?
No. Can I
rot
finish
over
my
time?
answer before I answer your question?
Does wood?
Can
rot
I finish
over
my?
time? Does wood rot over time? That's it. That's a simple question, bro. If you can't answer that, I really don't care else what else you got to say.
Answer your question. If I quit getting muted, you the one interrupted me, then I got muted.
Does wood rot over time?
I'm gonna answer your question after I finish what I was saying, because you're interrupting me.
Everything you're
I must have been
saying
saying
is
something
silly.
important, because
No, you haven't been saying, because you're denying.
okay, if
the
it's silly, then let me
ships.
say it and let me
No,
finish
bro,
being
literally,
silly.
no, because we have before we hold.
That doesn't even make sense, bro.
Before we could continue and be on the same page, right? As a group, as a think group, right?
We're
we
already
need to
not on the same
understand.
page.
We need to understand that
We're talking
wood
about a
rots.
disagreement, brother. We're not on the same page.
Does wood rots? This is the molehill. This is the molehill you ready to unalive on about wood rotting.
Is this such thing as
Bro,
smart
it should
enough
take
to know when a boat should come off the water?
Yes, and you can say yes or no, bro. It'll take 2 seconds. Does wood rot? Yes or no?
Would that include it when it's time for it to take it off? Would that include for the boat to come to a point where it's no longer safe to sail on?
More Perriers than a French swordsman, bro.
You're not even listening to me. What I'm saying is related to your question. What I'm saying is related to your question.
You're in denial.
I'm not in denial. Yes, wood rots to a degree. Yes, wood rots. Wood rots. But I got plenty of furniture wood that's in plenty good condition. But yes, wood rots.
So your wood.
They do the same thing when they.
Hold on. We gotta stop talking about. Yeah, we gotta stop talking about your shit. I want to say
same thing when they.
So yeah, hey, bro. You
Let's
said,
get it wrong.
listen, you just said you have furniture that's in good condition. Is your house in salt water, sir? Do you live underwater? Is your furniture dipped in salt water? So why the hell are you referencing your furniture being in good condition? Is it in salt
My
water?
thing is, they wasn't there. There is no boat that's in good enough condition to carry cargo for food, water, and slave
Really?
cargo. That doesn't make sense.
So how do your white tea papa
Europeans get here.
come to the
Then.
Americas?
How did
Yeah.
Europeans get here?
Yeah.
With
How
the
did your white
same
tea papa
ships,
come
with
to
the
They had
same
enough
America?
food
cargo.
to feed themselves and the slaves.
Answer the question, sir. How did your European papa come to the Americas?
3-month voyage. How did they have
Answer
enough
the
food to
question,
feed themselves?
sir. How do your European papas come
For
to
a
the
3-month
Americas?
voyage, how did they
You're not
have
answering the
enough food to
question,
feed
sir.
themselves?
You're not answering the
5
question, sir.
days. It wasn't no 3 months.
Oh man.
3 months. It was up to 3 months at times. Yes, it was, because you're talking about the transatlantic. We talking about the Atlantic Ocean. It's the most violent ocean on the face of the earth.
Wait a minute.
The
Hold
ocean
on.
gyres make
How
it too
did Juan
violent
de Cordova
to
get
cross.
here?
Like it's
How did Juan de
cross.
Cordova get here?
One at a time. I gotta start talking about you. Shut up.
How did Juan
Again,
de
so
Cordova get here?
hold on first, Dean. Hold on
Bro.
first, Dean. So hold on. Truth, for us to have an actual civilized question on this planet,
Permitted to take your question.
if you're being intellectually biased and you can't answer a simple question with honesty, then you can't have a conversation out here, bro. It's gonna be a bunch of murmuring, bro. So you could answer a simple question. If wood rots, you said half yesly. You said halfly yes. That don't make no sense, bro. Yes, wood rots in salt water. It decays over time. So again, how the hell as you as a person that's not a preschool dropout coming out there acting surprised when you see that hey, a wood that's been in salt water for more than 200 years is quote unquote not in perfect condition? Like, come on, let's not be intellectually
There are other
dishonest.
ships that have been preserved. How come there are no
Really?
slave ships that have been
Tell
preserved?
us tell us what ship has been preserved in perfect condition that has been dipped in sea water. Tell us that ship. What's the name of that ship? Tell us the
Never
name.
said in perfect condition. I never said in perfect.
Tell us a name of a ship that is
Said
in
in
better.
perfect.
Tell us any ship from the 1800s that's in better condition than the Clotilda that was in salt water. Name us a ship. Name us one ship. Name us one historical ship that was in water.
Now you asking me a question while muting me. That don't make
Go ahead,
sense,
answer
man.
the question, sir. Answer the question, vampire pretending. Yeah.
You call me a vampire pretending.
Yeah, you're a vampire. Bro.
And you cut me off when I'm making a statement, but you only.
You don't like taking DNA test garlic sauce on your sandwich.
It's
bro.
hard to take your question seriously when you've never taken none of my questions seriously.
What question?
That don't make sense. You got to give respect to get it. You haven't given me a reason to take you seriously. I've only been getting criticized.
Why are you crying now? You was in the chat talking crap, man. Going shy. So now you're crying up here like a little kid.
Oh, so I'm crying. And just like that, you're trolling.
Kid.
You're trolling. Look at how you gotta say something like you gotta talk the way you talking to me. Because you trolling.
Education is lacking.
You
You don't
trolling.
know basic information, bro.
You mean my indoctrination is lacking?
You're the troll.
You talking about a John D. Rockefeller?
So how did
hold on first, Dean. Let Pam ask the question.
The only one.
Yo, chill out, bro.
I want to ask the panel a question.
Let Pam ask the question.
Do anyone on the panel know what birthright citizenship mean? And who is it for?
Yeah. So birthright citizenship, that's mostly coming from the 14th Amendment. So that's what basically means. It basically means a person that's giving birth to in a country, automatically that person is granted a citizenship. So you understand? So when it comes to the birthright citizenship, that applies to people that are obviously being born in a country or a nation. So when it comes to in the United States, who was birthright citizenship created for? Was mainly created for the descendants of the enslaved Africans, basically people that got their freedom in 1865. So again, after the African Americans got their freedom in 1865, 3 years later, the 14th Amendment came into place. Again, the 13th Amendment was made before the 14th. So when it comes to the 14th Amendment, it's clearly connected to the 13th. So when it comes to after Black Americans got their freedom, after slavery got abolished in 1865, the 14th Amendment came into play 3 years later. Basically means that the 14th Amendment was meant for the descendants of enslaved Africans that obviously got their freedom in the mid 1800s, obviously in 1865. That's where the amendment is meant for. So again, the 14th Amendment is meant for obviously descendants of enslaved Africans. Yeah, the free slaves.
That is correct. I did the research, but I just wanted to hear hear some answers, answers about that. That is correct. But what I'm trying to say is to other people, that means that are for people that was brought here from slaves. So people that are saying that they are not from Africa, and they're saying they're from somewhere else or whatever, that is that's fraud, and you can be charged for that. If you don't have the proper documentation to prove that, that is an offense. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you are 100% right. Yeah, multiple laws are going to start coming into play. It's called infringement. A lot of these guys are infringing on other people's identity. So if you as a person claims to be indigenous, when it comes to you falsifying documentation, that is considered fraud in the United States law.
People's rights, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this fraudster vampire, Luz Smitty. So why are you committing fraud, sir? Why are you a criminal?
So are you saying that there are no wooden boats from the 1800s on display anywhere?
Please show us this wooden boats that was from the.
No, so are you saying that they don't exist?
Show us, sir.
So you're saying they don't exist?
Show us a wooden boat that was in sea water that is in better condition than the Clotilda. Show us that wooden boat that was in sea water. Well, can we find these Vikings boat, the Vikings that were coming to the Americas in the 8th century? What are these so-called Viking boats that were there? Can we find this perfectly conditioned Viking boat? It's not there. Nobody actually got to see the boat. But again, they found pieces of the boat, like literally tiny pieces. So again, where are these so-called fully perfect boats that was in sea water for couple centuries? Where can we find these boats that it
was fully perfect, but it's still around, and it should still be around
in better condition than the Clotilda. Because you said the Clotilda is not in. Hold on,
bro.
You said that the Clotilda,
you said a piece of the Clotilda was never found. Only a piece of it was.
It was a found. Are you drunk? I said the Vikings. It was a piece of the Viking boat that was found. A piece. The Clotilda is literally in perfect. It's in perfect archaeological shape. You can literally see the formulation of the boat. It's still
the piece of the Clotilda.
It still has a boat shape. Melo, pull up back the screen, bro. Melo, turn your camera back on, bro. The Clotilda is literally
only a piece of.
Literally in a boat shape, bro. It's in a slave ship shape. Look at this shape, man. It's literally in a shape form. So it's still there, bro. It literally has its shape. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, sir?
There's no evidence that that's anything that has to do with a so-called slave boat named Clotilda.
Nah, you're deflecting.
Slave boat. That's not a deflection. I got one for you, man. That's what they say the Clotilda was.
It was called a cargo ship.
Bring up Liberia. Ask them about Liberia when they actually brought slaves back to Africa.
Liberia was built by us. Liberia was built by American blacks.
So hold on. So you
yes,
believe
they
that
brought slaves back to Africa.
Yes, hold on.
Explain why they couldn't bring slaves to America.
They took a lot of slaves from.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. You just made a
from America to Africa.
Hold on. You just made a key point. So again, you don't believe in the transatlantic slave trade happening, but yet you believe in African Americans being sent to Liberia through a ship. So again, if you don't agree, hold on. Listen to yourself, sir. You just said that. Hold on. You just fully contradicted yourself. You just said that the Clotilda a slave ship.
I said not across the Atlantic.
Listen, bro. Listen.
Not a contradiction.
Yeah, you are, bro. Let me finish what I'm saying. If you're not scared, if you're not scared, let me finish my point. If you're
contradiction.
If you're not scared, let me finish my point, bro. You just said that Black Americans were the ones that came to create Liberia. So you agree on Black Americans being able to come on boats from the Americas to Africa. Again, thousands of Black Americans, 3,000 plus Black Americans coming all across from America to Africa before the Clotilda. But yet you don't believe in that happening. There's no evidence of any single boat. Now it's deflecting, bro. It's deflecting. Now it's deflecting, bro. It's deflecting. Trying to basically cut out the point. Again, you just said that you agree with Black Americans crossing the Atlantic with boats. But yet you find it so hard to believe African people coming through the Clotilda with boats. You just fully debunk yourself. You're a clown, bro.
The only way to travel to Africa.
You're a clown, bro. Stop deflecting. You're a clown.
So hold on. So are you saying the only way to travel to Africa is across the Atlantic? Because
it's through the Atlantic, bro. You go through the Atlantic from Africa to the Americas, but through the
Atlantic to get to Africa.
It's through the Atlantic.
They didn't have to.
Go look it up. The Liberians, the American Liberians crossed through the Atlantic to the Americas, bro. They landed
He
in the
obviously
west
doesn't
coast of
know
Africa.
geography.
You can't
He
cross through
obviously
the
doesn't know
Pacific.
geography.
Hold on, you can't cross through the Pacific and land in west coast Africa, goofy. The west coast of Africa is surrounded by the Atlantic, not the Pacific Island, the clown. So again, you just fully contradicted yourself
But
and just fully debunk yourself that if you agree that Black Americans
I'm
could
not
come on boats, even if Black Americans
map.
could come on, I'm still talking, bro. If Black
Map.
Americans could come on boats in the 18th
Well,
century from America, why can't African people
polar map was.
also come on boats in the Clotilda in the mid 1800s, bro? You just fully debunk yourself.
You
Yeah,
dumb boy.
clown.
You clown.
Allowed to paint pictures of me
Yeah,
off of
that's
sound bites by muting me, and I
no,
can't
bro.
speak for
That's what happens
myself.
when you don't have
You're a
education,
clown.
bro. You don't
You
have no
should never come
education.
up here,
You
boy.
didn't even know about Liberia.
Look at how y'all gotta mute me to paint a picture of me. I'm
So why
not
did
even
you
allowed
come
to
up
speak
here?
for myself. Y'all
Now
speaking
you
for
come
me.
up here. Now you the clown.
I mean, if I knew y'all was gonna speak for me, I wouldn't have came up here. I thought y'all was at least gonna let me speak for myself.
That's
I thought
academic.
y'all was at least gonna. Y'all took sound bites of what I said and then told me what I
Yeah,
said
I mean,
when I
you
couldn't
spoke for
even
yourself,
explain to
sir.
you what I was
Sir,
talking
you spoke
about.
for yourself. You just debunked yourself. You spoke for
Nah, no, I didn't
the
speak
moment
for
you
myself. You
open,
kept
bro. The
muting,
moment you
Debunk
open your
yourself,
mouth
bro.
and said,
You
the
debunk
moment you open your
yourself.
mouth and said,
There
hold
were
on, the
no
moment you
trees in
open
the
your mouth and
1800s, bro.
said,
You could only
but
sail from America to Africa
muting
by
me
ship.
off of sound
You
bites
couldn't sell
just
from
like you're
America.
doing now, and you're
yeah.
going to speak for me and tell me what I'm saying.
Okay. Hold on, bro. The moment you open your mouth, yeah, spoke, bro. The moment you open your mouth and
Damn, that's
said that Black Americans came to New Liberia, that's how you know you debunk yourself. Because if you're saying Black Americans could come on sail boats, sail boats
Already, yeah.
from America to Africa, why is it so impossible for West African people to come on the Clotilda? Again, this involves multiple years after Black Americans already came to Liberia. The Clotilda was in 1860s. Again, if Black Americans can come from America to Africa in the 18th century, why can't the Clotilda also come to the Americas in the 19th century?
no
Why is it not
evidence
possible?
that the Clotilda actually existed.
Oh, really? So again, where can we find these Black Americans boats that they used to come to Liberia? Can you show us the boats, sir? Show us the boats. We've come out. We have presented actual physical evidence of the Clotilda. Show us these so-called Black American boats that they were sailing through in the industrial era to Liberia, sir. Present the boats. Let's see these boats. You came out here mentioning the boat. Where can we find these quote-unquote boats that these so-called Black Americans used to come to Liberia? Where can we
Hey,
find the
you
boats?
mentioned the boat.
Where can we find the boats? No, you did, bro. You said Black Americans came to rule Liberia.
I
You said
only
Black Americans came to rule Liberia. You said they created Liberia. Okay, cool. If Black Americans created Liberia, don't be an hypocrite, sir. Where are the boats? Where are these boats of these Black Americans that were sailing from America to Liberia? In salt water. Where are they at, bro? Yeah, let's see these saltwater Black indigenous boats that you guys are used to sail from America to rule West Africa, bro. Let's see these boats.
Where is the wood indigenous to?
So wait a
Yeah,
minute.
exactly.
Hold on.
Let's see that Florida State and Noah's Ark boats that you guys were using to
So
sail
you're using my
from
point
America.
against me.
Bro, where can I find these Florida State Noah's
Original.
Ark boats that you pretenders used to sail to West Africa, sir? You guys always talk
You gonna
about
ask me
how Florida is the origin of
how many questions you
mankind.
gonna ask me while muting me, bro?
Answer the question, sir. Where
How
are the
many
boats?
questions you gonna ask me while
Where are
muting
the
me?
boats, sir?
I can't
Where are
even
the boats?
speak, bro.
Where are the boats, sir? Where are the boats? Where
I
are the
can't
boats?
even speak. So
Show
wait
the
a
boats,
minute.
sir.
Let me get this straight. You want to use the point that I originally made
Bro, where are
against
the
y'all,
boats,
against
sir?
me?
Where are the boats?
You
Where are the
telling me
boats?
where are the boats? I'm asking you where are the slave ship boats. You can't even
I'm
show
sure
me the
we showed
Clotilda.
you a whole,
Yo,
sir.
hey,
We
bro,
showed you a whole
and
slave ship. You said
you're
it wasn't in good
contradicting
condition.
yourself with the Liberian statement because it was actually slave ships that brought the Africans to Liberia from America.
Debunked himself. Clown.
You see what I'm saying, brother? You
You
contradicting
debunked
yourself.
Y'all didn't even let me finish what I was saying.
You don't get that. You must
I
be
keep
slow,
getting
bro.
muted.
Are you a
Bro,
slow
I keep
finish
getting
what?
muted. Y'all,
Bro, finish what? Finish
whatever
what?
I say, you're gonna mute me and then take the little bit you heard before you muted me and then make up some shit. That's
Hey
all y'all
Jay, I
doing.
think you should give him a minute, you know what I mean, and a soundtrack so he could talk and say whatever he gotta say.
all they gotta do is complain.
I mean, it's hard to take them seriously at this point, man. I mean,
So, okay, hold on. So again, answer my question, sir. So,
you said hold on, but
present-
like when you
hold on,
first, but the
present
thing
the
about
boats,
it is
sir.
when you
Present
first
the
come,
boats. Where are the
when you
boats, sir?
first
Hold
come
on.
to the,
Where are the Liberian boats, sir? Where are the boats? You got 1 minute. Where are the boats, sir?
when it first come to the live, it say keep it respectful,
Where are the
right? But they
boats, sir? Where are the
disrespect the
boats?
shit out of you
Well,
and then get mad when you.
now it's crashing. Now it's crashing on this Noah's Ark. Where are the boats,
I'm
sir?
just saying this is
Where
what's
are these indigenous Noah's Ark Florida boats that you guys used to sail to Africa, sir? Where are the boats? Where are the
How can
boats,
you expect
sir?
me to take you seriously
Where are
now
the boats,
after
sir?
we
Where
made it
are
to
the
this
boats?
point?
Where are the boats?
After we made it to this
Where are the
point,
boats?
like
Where are
human
these
being to
indigenous?
human being,
Why are these indigenous gumbo sweeting
human being to human.
boats, sir? Where can we find these Levantine Floridian boats? You so-called black Indians were used to sail to Africa
Me
to
to take you
colonize Africans.
seriously at this point. Like
Where can
really
we find
though,
the boats,
how can
sir?
you expect me to take you
Where can
seriously
we
at this point?
find these post-colonizer black indigenous boats in
You
Liberia,
expect me to
sir?
take any of
Where
y'all
are the boats?
seriously? If I have any type of
Where are the
self-respect, how
boats,
can you
sir?
expect to take me?
Where are the
How can I
boats?
expect to take you seriously? I don't understand.
Where are the boats, sir? I'm going to bring you back again. Where are the boats? Stop yapping, sir. Where can we find these so-called indigenous Noah Floridian Ark boats? Are you so-called black Aboriginal Hebrew Indians were used to sail from Africa, sailing from the Americas to Africa, bro? Show us the boats. Where are the boats, sir? Stop yapping. Where are the boats?
How can you expect me to take you seriously after we made it to this point, bruh? After all that you've been talking, after you tried to belittle me and condescend me, just like you doing now, you trolling. How can I take you seriously? How? How is it possible? You too, Dean. How can I take y'all seriously and answer a question when every question I asked y'all shot it down and you belittled me about it and muted me in my explanation, took a sound bite off what I was saying and turned it on me like I was talking nonsense. Like, how can I take y'all seriously? Really though. That's all like seriously though, like at what point can we quit the childish, petty shit and get to a real conversation? And I'm gonna land right there.
Are you done freestyling, sir? Are you done freestyling? Oh, good. My boy freestyling.
You know, Joey, that's funny. Freestyle with freestyle. But you got me. You gotta let niggas speak, man. They gotta talk, bro. Come on, man.
Talk what? Did you be speaking?
Don't say N-word. Don't say the N-word, bro.
You gotta drop, man. You gotta drop. You tripping, bro. You gotta drop, man. Come on.
He know what it is, man. I didn't say nothing that wasn't true.
Yeah,
So you
man.
request to come up
freestyling,
here, and now you can now you just played
I
yourself.
requested because you told me to request to come up here, bro.
Hey, you stupid man!
You told me to come up here.
You know what?
I'm dumb,
Yeah,
but
you're
y'all
very,
showing
very,
me
very uneducated. You
an
know what?
unclear photo of a boat saying that's evidence, but I'm dumb.
How did Juan de Cordoba get here? How did Francisco Pizarro get here to the Americas during the 1500s?
Where's the evidence that we actually came from Africa, bro?
How did Francisco?
Why did they have to take our identity away? If we actually came from Africa, why was our identity a threat?
True,
Portugal.
stop asking Dean. Dean don't know.
They brought slaves here from
Hold on, D. He
why did they have
asked
to take our
D.
identity?
He asked a real question, D. Why did they want to take our and destroy our identity? Are you kidding me?
Like, nah, like if we really from hold on, but it doesn't make sense that they would take your identity if you're from a whole nother land. And they could have been and deported us.
Tell us how did your people
been and deported us.
Tell us how your people
But they
got
can't
here.
deport us.
Tell us how your people got here, son. Tell us. Show us how your people got here. How did they end up here?
I would like for you to address what I just said, though.
Literally, okay, I can explain that. These people, these white tea people here in this country, try to make a whole race of subservient people. That was their goal at the end of the day. They got books that tell you about it. You can go look up the Willie Linch book. I don't think you can say that. Yeah. literally telling you how to control us, how to keep us docile, how to keep doing. So yeah, the sole purpose of that was removing our names, our languages, and making sure that we can't communicate and organize and gather. Like, bro, they had all type of tactics to keep us in chains, both physically and mentally. So, brother, like, you really need to do your research on the tactics they use to enslave people. Like, you being
I'm
weird up
familiar
here,
with the
man.
Willie
That's
Lynch
what we're
letter.
telling you.
So if you so familiar with it, why are you acting like you don't
Yeah,
know?
I've
y'all
never
the
seen
ones trying to
anything
dumb us
mentioned.
down to
China,
one
I'm not
side
talking to
of
you. Hush up, China. Girl, I'll pull up your picture.
Damn, bro, you gonna tell her to
pulling
hush
up
up,
an
bro?
African picture.
Man,
That's
because
not
every
gonna
time I
make
say
you
something to
her.
her, is
Fake
don't talk
China,
to me. Is
please.
don't talk to me. Every time I ask her a question, is don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. So like, don't be
Yeah, because
interjecting
you
on
keep
her.
doing
Yeah,
that.
yo,
You keep
here. Let me get this
lying,
picture.
dude.
Hold up. Let me get China. Let me get your twin up here
Please,
from the
fake
continent,
China.
because she
I'm
calling
so
you. She
sick of
wants you
hearing
to
her
come
voice.
home.
I don't care about you. Care about you being sick. Go. You're sick. Go to the doctor.
There you go, China. That's you right there. Your twin.
A mental physician.
Mama, oh yeah,
Come
my
back
mama
home.
told me to tell you that you're crazy.
Come back home.
It was never my home. You're delusional, sir.
Hey, you should. This is your twin right here. Your mama dropped off a baby. She had y'all
No,
at the same
no,
time,
no. We're
and
not
this
even the
is you.
same
You
skin
need to just
tone.
come back
Stop,
home. Stop
stop,
playing. Stop
stop.
playing.
That lady
You a
is
whole
yellow.
African
That lady is
sister.
yellow.
You is not
That lady is
indigenous
yellow.
to
She's
nowhere
yellow.
but
I'm
Africa.
copper. She's
You
yellow.
ain't
I'm copper.
indigenous to nowhere but
Yeah. And you're a
free.
hater. And you're
You know
mad.
what's
Huh.
You're
crazy?
mad.
They say in the comments she's crashing out, but you crashing out to her to make her crash out if that's what you want to call
Exactly.
crashing out.
Exactly.
How
And
am I
There's
two,
no
crashing
we
out, sir?
got another
accountability up
male up
here,
here.
man.
Two,
Sir, how am I
do that
crashing
lady
out?
look like me? Do that lady look
When
like
did you,
anything
first of
like
all,
me,
when did you
too?
hear me raise my voice? When did you hear
Similar
me
skin
speaking some
tone.
type
That's
of
about it, really.
aggressive? When did you hear me say some
Yeah,
aggressive
that's
manner? How
all.
am
We
I
don't look
crashing out?
anything.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
have a
her jaws and
presentation
look
that
at
can
mine. Look
address
at
all
Y'all
her
that
jaws and
standards
look
of
at
probably.
mine.
crashing out is
Look
I
at
can
her
crazy.
address
jaws
all
and look
that
at
Y'all
in
have a
mine. We don't
totally
look
different
anything alike.
T-zone, a totally different jawline, a
Man,
totally
Thank
different
you.
exactly.
cheek
that
Totally
shape.
right
different
there.
phenotype.
Hold on. One at a time. One at a time, bro.
Totally different.
So again, bro. Again, Lil Smitty, you show why education is lacking in your brain cells. You came out as saying that Black Americans, quote unquote, ruled Liberians. Again, so how did the Black American slaves come to Liberia? If you can't show us the slave ships, bro, show us that slave ships, man.
You just mentioned something about
Answer the
education,
question,
right? So
bro.
education, man, like I said, it's hard to take your question seriously. Man, you've been not taking me seriously. You probably gonna drop me in a minute because I'm not about to cooperate with your
Answer
question
my
because you had
question,
no
bro.
intention of cooperating with mine.
You don't answer
But
my
like I was
question, sir.
saying, you believe in the John D. Rockefeller educational system narrative, and that's all that. That's the biggest difference, and that's what Dean Gullah is going to fight to the death for. I'm sorry, till he gets unalived for. He's already pushing 70. You know what I mean? Godspeed to you, bro. But you on the wrong path, bro.
Yeah, you mentally drunk, but come on, let's just speak one at a time, bro. We're not gonna talk about it one at a time. Yeah, so when it comes to Professor Lou Smitty, Professor Goldfish Lou Smitty, talking about how Black Americans came to rule Liberia, without understanding the fact that Black Americans that came to rule Liberia, they also came through the transatlantic. Again, they came through the Atlantic. The transatlantic basically means transversing through the Atlantic. It's kind of ironic that it says, quote unquote, that there's no evidence of African people coming on ships to the America. But yes, it mentions, quote unquote, Black Americans sailing the seas to come and rule West Africa. As you can see, basically just debunk himself. As you can see, when it comes to the slave ships that Black Americans were, the Black American
A
free
trip is
slaves.
more
Hold on, I'm
plausible
not
than a
talking.
back
I'm
and
not done
forth.
talking. I'm not done. You had a whole minute to talk, bro. You didn't give us any single information. On this panel, we either give information by opening your screen or you shut up your mouth, bro. You're embarrassing yourself, bro. You keep on embarrassing and debunking yourself every single time you open your mouth, bro. So I advise you to shut up your mouth, but you debunk yourself more. As I was saying again, this buffoon, this illiterate, belligerent buffoon came out to talking about how Black Americans were ruling West Africa, denoting the fact that
Disrespect, I see.
Black Americans also came to West Africa through slave ships. the free slaves, the free Black Americans, they came to Africa with other old slave ships that they were given by the American colonization society. As you can see, the term slave ships generally refers to the large cargo ships, often specifically built or converted for the transatlantic slave trade. They transported enslaved Africans. These ships were also known as the Guineaman, specifically ships like the Elizabeth and others, including those seized by the U.S. Navy. Again, they were the slave ships that Black Americans, again, this pretender, quote unquote, came out here flexing that Black Americans came to rule West Africa. Do you notice the fact that also when it comes to those ships that Black Americans used to come to West Africa, they came from
But they have
captured.
older Navy
I'm
ships
still
than that, but
talking.
they
Don't crash out, bro. You just debunk yourself, man. Those same ships that Black Americans used to come to Liberia, they came from
I got you.
ships. I'm still talking, bro. They came from seized ships from the U.S. navies. They came from enslaved ships that the U.S. Navy basically seized after they saw illegal slave traders coming to America. So if you know any single thing about the U.S. Navy at that time, after slavery got abolished, again, we're speaking on 1806, after the trade got abolished, because Black Americans, the Liberians, they mostly came after the slave trade got abolished. So if you know any single thing about the United States Navy, they were basically a bunch of naval ships, basically capturing illegal slave traders' boats and confiscating them and giving them to the United States government. So at that time, you're going to find a bunch of U.S. navies taking those illegal slave ships and basically giving it to the government. So that same government gave those confiscated slave ships to the free men in Liberia to come to West Africa. So again, you debunk yourself. Those Black Americans that came to Liberia, they also came on a bunch of confiscated slave ships from the U.S. Navy, bro. You debunk yourself, bro. As you can see, this is the actual boat that the Black Americans were using to come to Liberia. As you can see, the Black American Liberians, they came from a slave ship that was captured by the U.S. Navy from illegal slave traders called the Elizabeth. So this was a common transatlantic slave ship used by a lot of enslavers to quote unquote take African people and send them to the Americans. It's called the Elizabeth. So after the people kept on using these boats to transfer African people illegally to the Americas, the U.S. Navy basically captured and took this slave ship from the illegal slave traders, and they gave it to the Liberians they gave it to the Black Americans to sail to Liberia. As you can see, the ship Elizabeth Company, commanded by Captain Sable and often called the Mayflower of Liberia, left New York for Liberia in 6 February 1820. This was the first organized Black migration back to Africa. It began when 88 free Blacks left New York, harbored aboard the slave ship called, again, the name of the slave ship is called the Elizabeth. This slave ship is a very common slave ship known for enslaving African people and bringing them to the Americas. Again, after the U.S. Navy confiscated these boats, they obviously gave the boat to Black Americans to quote unquote sail to West Africa, as you can see. However, the ship Elizabeth never made it to present-day Liberia. The first African American came to the Cape, Missouri, of the Guinea boat Alligator. As you can see, if anybody paid attention to the last source I showed, as you can see, the Guinea boat, that also applies to, as you can see, the Guinea man boat also applies to the transatlantic slave trade boats that were used historically to transfer African people from West Africa to the Americas. Again, just debunk yourself, sir. Again, the same boats that Black Americans used to come to Liberia, those were the offsprings of confiscated boats that the U.S. Navy took from illegal slave traders, bro. You debunk yourself, clown.
No, not really, because it was they went as the Navy, but those the ones who built Liberia went as the Navy. When you look at
the go as no Navy. To be a member of the Navy, and to be a member of the military, and they were African and Black, so they cannot be members of the military, sir.
Man, bro, it was our government. It was our governmental Navy, the Americos. It was our governmental Navy. There's images of it. You can look up images of it.
Just
But
give it
see,
up,
that's
man.
the problem.
We
That's the
tap
But what you
problem.
need
dancing.
to
We
That's
do
the
tap
is,
problem
dancing
You
right
can.
now.
They went as the Navy, so yeah, I
hey
believe
Smitty,
that
Tap
as a
dancing,
Navy
bro.
shit.
Smitty,
Yeah,
what
Tap
you need to
most
do
dancing.
is watch
definitely.
the movie
Hold on,
Amistad.
Tap
one at a
dancing.
time. Yo.
You need to
One
Tap
watch the
at a time.
movie
dancing.
Amistad,
One at a
Smitty.
time.
Jamun Hansu,
Gummy, mind
the
saying
actor.
something on
Watch
that?
the
Gummy,
movie.
Go ahead, debunk pretending. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. We know you can meet your mic. Don't be scared. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir. Speak more. The more you speak, the more you debunk yourself, sir. Unmute your mic. We know you can speak.
Oh yeah, I got you. But no, they went. There's images of it. You can look at. Okay, so how can I take that serious? How can I take that serious? He's laughing. Like really? That's childish as hell, man. How can you? What's going on, bro?
Sir, how does it feel to get debunked on a daily basis, sir? How does it feel to get debunked your own words? How does it feel, sir? How
You're
does
not
it feel?
debunking me. You're just overcrowding me with muting me and gaslighting me. That's all you doing. That's not debunking anything. Anytime I try to get into an explanation, you ridicule me and cut me off and laugh at me. You're only trying.
So let's take a look. So again, this pretendian said that his so-called ancestors were sailing. Again, this is the first boat that was commissioned to transfer Black Americans from America to Liberia. It's called the Elizabeth slave ships. Again, when it comes to this slave boat, what is it known for? The slave ship and Elizabeth had I got skipped. Hold on a second. But don't worry, this guy just basically you just debunk yourself so badly, bro. It's sad, bro. You just debunk yourself so badly. It's really sad, bro. So, as I was saying, when it comes to you as a pretendian, you mentioned American Liberians, quote unquote, coming to rule Africa. You were so proud to come out here and say, "Oh, we were ruling Africans. We was ruling them Africans, man. Those dumb Africans. We the indigenous Black Indians were ruling them Africans." But you just debunk yourself, bro. Clown. So again, the same slave ship that Black Americans were first commissioned on to come to Liberia. It's called the Elizabeth slave ship. As you can see, the ship Elizabeth Company, commanded by Captain Sabre and often called the Mayflower of Liberia, left New York for Liberia in 1820. So this is the first slave ship to be commissioned by the American Colonization Society to come to Liberia. And let's look at the history of this same slave ship and what this boat was doing before Black Americans got access to this boat. Let's look at the history, bro. So again, the slave ship Anne and Elizabeth had two recorded voyages in slave voyages database, one in 1734 and other in 1735, both captained by John Simpson. Doesn't sound like a black man to me, bro. But let's keep on going, bro. The Queen Elizabeth slave ship is also for the first official English slave trading voyage. The private ships, again, the private ship White Lion also played a role. As you can see, this slave ship is connected to the first English slave trading voyage, bro. This same boat that Black Americans were commissioned to sail from New York to Liberia also had ties to one of the first British slave trading voyage at that time. So again, how the hell are you as a Black American, quote unquote, claim to be Indian when your people literally came to Liberia on a bunch of commissioned slave ships that are already used by the Europeans to come to capture
They called them
your
slave ships,
West
but they
African
wasn't
ancestors,
slave
bro.
ships. They called
Yeah,
them
now you're
African
coping.
American, but they wasn't Africans.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Now you're coping. You've been debunked, sir.
You
Let
can
it go,
look it
bro.
up. It's
Put
another
the corn in the bag,
America.
sir. Put the corn in the bag, sir. Put the corn in the bag. It's gone. Indian, bro. Put the corn in the
Another
bag.
America, the story of Liberia. You keep muting me every time I'm trying to talk to you, but then you want me to respect you when you try to, after you get done horse playing and condescending me. Come on, man.
The problem
Gummy,
is
give us
you
a minute.
keep
Gummy, give us a minute on that platform
It's
so we
called
can talk.
Another America, the story of Liberia. They acting like it's former slaves, but they're all in Navy uniforms.
Bro,
Navy.
y'all pretenders love debunking yourself. Shana, what are you doing, Shana? I know you can't read, Shana. You're debunking yourself.
People who built Liberia. They
No,
were
yeah, Liberia. Those are the two countries, Haiti and Liberia. But
He
continue.
just read the source. Stop trying to debunk
Yeah,
somebody.
so hold on.
That's why
One at a time. So let's read property. Go ahead. Let's see what you want to say. After we're gonna go to to China that has the source. 'Cause I feel like China is
Desperate.
debunking herself.
They talk. They
Y'all,
moving.
y'all shut up,
Yeah.
bro. You had a chance to talk. You know you're not gonna pull up the
Gummy,
source.
look.
You know you have no information. We're gonna get to you, China, but let's property talk first. After we're gonna get to your source that's easily debunking yourself.
Oh,
Anyway.
wow.
Oh,
Thank
it's
you.
not.
Wow.
It's not.
Thank you. Yo, brother Gummy, thank you so much. First of all, because you guys kick me out so much, I got to come back into conversation. But Liberia and Haiti, yeah, there's something very particular in that. But we're going to leave that on that. I'm just going to say my piece, right? Because the influence of U.S. in Liberia and Haiti is very specific. So I didn't come in a conversation. I don't know what's going on too much, but I will say, yes, there's a lot going on in terms about liberation, right? One thing I will say, and I'm going to leave it at this. Give me 20 seconds, people. That's all I ask, right? Haiti looked at it like this. If you are of melanated color and you step ground on this country, or that country, what they had to claim at that point, you're a free man. And Africa has to figure it out, because Africa has to, the countries in Africa have to figure out what they do in Haiti. They got to figure that out. U.S., they still got to figure it out, but we got claim on U.S. land. So
No, you don't.
everyone needs to figure it out, because if you think you're gonna play us, or that country that's all of us, that's messed up, brother. And I show love all the time. And then we're going to sit there and we're going to talk all this talk. And it's cute. It's nice. It's cool. We're on this platform that China created so we could talk our niceness, right? China created that on the algorithm. If you want to get busy on it, bro. Because I could get busy on everybody out here. But I'm going to lay low. I love my brother Gummy. We go back and forth. That's my brother no matter what. But I'm going to say what I got to say. So we're going to watch Haiti.
Your
and
time
watch,
is up, dude.
Wait, beautiful man, please just give me 1 second, because I know it's gonna be over for me real soon. All I gotta say is this:
Don't be nice to her.
Haiti. We're gonna watch Haiti's history, and no one's talking about Haiti's history. We talk about all this stuff, and the only thing that's combining everything that we're talking about is Haiti. Everything you guys talking about, everything you ladies talking about, the combination is Haiti. But you guys leave it
I don't know
out.
about that, bro.
And nobody,
The Haitian Empire, the real Haitian Empire. You
but Gummy, you gotta put the work. Gummy, you gotta put the work. Don't do that to me, brother. Come on, man. All right, I'm out of here.
You just lost it. You just lost it. No child left behind.
I'm gonna start dropping you. Come on. So one of my partners, I don't like people talking about you should have until my partners. So one of my partners know I don't like people talking about you should have. You guys already know that already. So come on, one at a time. So again, Shana, you had a source earlier. Can we see the source that easily debunks yourself? And what is your point with you putting up that source?
You read the source, so how do you know it debunks you?
So go ahead, present the source. Go ahead, present your source.
It's a waste of time.
Shana, I know you do this all the time. Shana, we know you're not a newcomer. You do this all the time. Any single time you come on the panel, any single time I call your source wrong, you be shying away from opening your camera again. We know that you're not a newcomer.
No.
You do this all the time. You come on the panel, you think you're smart.
Right, when you take us for clowns and then expect us to take you serious.
Shana, you get embarrassed and you turn off your camera. Come on, Shana. So turn on your camera back on. We know you're not the first time.
Again. This
Come
is
on,
what
Shana.
you do.
Turn on your camera and present your source.
You very condescending.
Be educated. Present your source. Be educated.
No,
Go ahead.
you're very condescending and you're controlling. How would you know if my source debunked myself if you haven't even
Then go ahead. It doesn't debunk you.
You
Go
did
ahead,
not.
Present the source.
You did
Go
not.
ahead. Present the source. If it doesn't debunk you, present the source. Don't be scared. Go ahead.
No, dude, you ain't even worth me presenting. No, I'm good.
Like, why do you do this all the time? You come on the panel, you think you're smart, and when you present the source, I laugh at you, and you come out
Because
you're
biased. You're
I'm
biased,
biased.
sir.
I'm literally letting you present the source. I'm literally saying go ahead and present your source. How am I being biased?
Because you're biased.
I'm just saying present your source. How is me being biased? I just say present your source. How am I being biased? Yeah, something's wrong with you.
You lie too much. If you was fair, I wouldn't mind putting my camera back on.
I mean, she calling you out, man. Just be fair to her. She called you out, man.
What do you mean be
all right,
fair?
you're a man,
What
man.
are you talking about? At least you just put it on the base screen. What do you mean be fair? At least you just give her a chance to present her source. What do you mean be fair?
Because no matter what we show, you're going to easily try to lie. That's what you do over here. That's your tactic.
Don't lie, but he's biased. You don't lie, but he's biased.
Biased, really? What are you
lie a
talking
lot.
about?
He's both.
Bias. I literally let you guys have the base cream and talk all the time. You guys literally cost me off as a host. I'm literally being nice to all of you like crazy. So how am I being biased? So again, key point, you don't have any evidence. So when you come on the panel, sometimes when you guys pull up your own source, most of the times your own source basically debunks your claim. So like it don't make no sense. Like I literally put on the base cream to present her source. Like she doesn't do that. So what is the point?
You want this information, don't you? So you can talk about it tomorrow and act like you.
Yeah, I want this information of 398
always
of
educate
388,000 enslaved Africans coming to America. Yeah, I want that information.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah.
Show us that
teach you.
information.
You know you learn
Show
it.
us that
Yeah.
information. Yeah. Yeah. So I see Loose Meaty run away like a little
We the
girl.
real teachers. We the real teachers, baby.
Yeah. So Loose Meaty, he ran away like
Look
a little
ass
girl.
laugh. That's a ugly
Literally,
laugh.
like Loose
No,
Meaty, like
no, Gummy, I dropped him because he kept interrupting. He can come back. He just needs to stop interrupting.
He'll true. That's what he does. I'm pretty sure I blocked him on that account because he be trolling. He doesn't let anybody talk. I'm pretty sure I blocked him on his main account.
Yeah, he was tap dancing.
Yeah, I got that shiny brown polished shoes. Tap dancing. That must Kogi.
Put them boats up, and I'm gonna put my sword back up.
That Muskogee polished shoes. Muskogee shoes. Got that Muskogee polished shoes.
And you caught him.
Show me them boats, and I'm gonna show you these numbers of Africans arriving.
You caught him, right? When you caught him, then he started saying, "Well, is the Atlantic the only way you can get to Africa?" You know, what are you talking about? How did they get there? They flew on pterodactyl bats?
Superman. They were Superman, bro. They were flying.
Wait, maybe they went into the mouth of a whale and just sailed there.
Yeah,
man. Now we got Noah's Ark pretenders. We got Noah. We got Jude. Isn't Jude the dude that got swallowed by a whale? Isn't his name Jude or something? I thought Jude,
I don't
right?
know, but whoever
I'm
just
not really
laughed like that.
hold on. I'm not really well versed in the Bible. Hold on, I'm still talking. I'm not really well versed in the Bible. Wasn't it Jude that got swallowed by bro, shut up, man. Wasn't it Jude that got swallowed by like a whale or something? I think it's Jude. Jonah.
I think it's Coward.
I think his name is Jonah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now we got Jonah pretending talking about the swan. They got swallowed by a whale.
You a coward. You should have addressed me when I was here.
Man, set up your mouth,
Smitty,
man.
you are pseudo.
Exactly. Oh,
Nothing
vampire
wrong with being
pretending.
pseudo. And
You can't prove it.
What them boats
Oh, pretending vampire.
You can't prove it.
Right.
The boats. Where is the boat?
Good.
Did you like? I feel like you guys want to just argue, bro. Y'all ain't got no education. You ain't got no
What is
education.
with the boats? Why do you need a boat to prove that we're from Africa?
Provoking an argument,
I just
Hold on. Everybody may talk for a second, bro. Come on. I'm gonna have to drop one of you guys. Truth, or either you or Shina, cause you guys love talking about people. So let's give Hillary a chance to speak. I said she's new on the panel. So Hillary, you can introduce yourself. Where you from? What's your race? And what do you got to say on the topic?
I am Hillary. I'm 52 years old. I hail from Washington State right now. I just don't understand what is so shameful about being descendants of Africans. What is it? But because Africa's the cradle of life.
No, ma'am.
We are the true Homo sapiens, and you are just erasing indigenous people of America for what? You can't be proud of that. I think that's really awesome that we come from a continent of kings and queens. We're a continent of cradle of life. Everybody wants what's in that continent. And yet still, you just gotta sit here and just take from people who were from here. The indigenous do not look like black people. They are not brown like you.
Don't read, ma'am.
That's because I do read a lot.
No, you don't read.
And I have a degree in sociology and African American studies.
Don't.
You don't know me, hon.
Yeah, just like you don't know me, and I'm not.
You're being indignant because you know you're lying,
and we ain't no we.
You are being very indignant, And yet still I defend y'all in the comments with the very racist tropes that one gentleman was giving, because that's really sick to be talking about Black people, even though they are misguided, Walker. It's just the EBT jokes and stuff like that is, those quips are not okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
of course, I
sorry,
get what
they
you're
are
saying.
sad and a misunderstanding, but I don't, it's a very white supremacist trope.
Yeah. So
That
Hillary,
is hurtful.
yeah, we don't support all those kind of claims. And you always make this assertion that when it comes to obviously these ignorant people that are coming out to claim to be indigenous, they're very tiny spectrum. They're very tiny spectrum of people in the Black American larger community. So a lot of these guys, why they might be a minority, but they should be condemned because their actions itself gives
Very.
an open room for some people to spread racism to the Black people. So yeah, they ain't cool for sure.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I can't get. That's the one thing I can't understand. Why are you doing this? That's you are part of the problems that we do have over here. They're part of the problem that's going to keep us at the bottom. Black Americans at the bottom.
Yes, but Hillary, these are assessments that they really say. These are things that people say towards us to hurt each other. We got to be honest with ourselves. Like this is real stuff. I have my African brothers from Senegal. They told me certain things too to me that hurt me. And guess what? I'm still every month. Guess what? I'm sending them money every month. I'm tired. I'm gonna keep 100.
Bro, what? Bro.
So you a scammer,
bro? What are you talking about?
Scammer mule or something, bro?
What are you sending them money? What are you talking about, bro?
Okay, I got confused.
Scammer mule, bro.
Yeah, drop that all that microaggression he got, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are we sending Africans?
I'm
money?
sorry, I got really confused.
My brother that's from Senegal right now. All right, I'm not gonna talk about scammers, but I could let you know how he felt, how their family felt towards me, and I always felt it was a weird feeling. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
That's a personal issue. We don't care.
What is your point, bro? Like,
what I'm saying is, hold on.
Bro. She was speaking about how.
Here's the point.
Bro, you never have a point, sir. You speak for the last 10 hours. Never have a point. So again, we'll speak.
Gummy.
Bro, I'm still talking, bro.
Gummy.
The lady at the bottom, I don't know, drop it.
Look
bro.
at my numbers.
The lady at. Oh, Jesus.
Gotta play me like that, bro.
Yeah. Again, yo. Like, dude, why do you do this all the time, bro? Like, you just want to just divert. Like, she never even mentioned what you're saying, bro. She was speaking about these people that come out there painting this negative spectrum that all Black people are claimed to be indigenous. That's what she's speaking about, bro. She's not speaking about your so-called relationship with Senegal. Nobody cares about you and the Senegalese people you text with on Facebook, bro. Like, come on.
I mean, all it takes is a DNA test. Your DNA can't lie. It can't lie.
What?
I mean, I took a DNA test. I didn't really want to, but I did it anyway because
what
I wanted to
23andMe is
know.
going through right now.
True.
I'm not doing.
Hold on, come on.
23andMe.
Come on. Yo, come on.
I already know.
We're not gonna do this round upon here. Come on, let the lady finish talking. Come on. Why don't you gonna respect, bro? Come on, let her finish talking, bro. Like, can't you guys have a decent conversation? You're not little kids. Come on. The lady's older than you. Let her finish talking. Come on.
But and oh my God, the revelation that I got when it's amazing to me. I thought it was like great. Now I know, and I know more information. Our people pass down their history we talk to, my mother was taught by my grandmother, who was taught with my great grandmother, who was a slave. We talk. Now, I don't know when we stop talking about it. And I think that's the great crime that we have going on here, is we stopped talking about it. But those people, the people in Africa Town, they helped find the Clotilda because their family talked about it, made sure they remember. And that's where I think we dropped the ball. Is we didn't continue to talk and tell each other the stories and everything that they went through. It's not fair to erase the indigenous people of this land. It's not right. It's disgusting. And it makes us all look bad. Because you don't know. Because did you take a DNA test? I could show you mine if you show you yours. Hell, actually, mine's is public. Because it's on Ancestry. And let me tell you, doing a family tree is not easy. It's hard. I mean, my family tree is messed. But I still do it. Come on now, y'all.
Exactly. They're not gonna take a DNA test. It's like garlic. It's like garlic for a lot of these pretenders, like a bunch of vampires. They don't like taking a DNA test. It burns their eyes.
Thank you, Hillary. I really
None of us took a
appreciate
DNA
your...
test. Government didn't take no DNA test.
Really, I haven't taken a DNA test.
Yeah,
Really?
and he's straight out the Congo.
I've taken a DNA test, and you told me exactly what tribe I'm from. So you didn't know people outside America can actually order people.
I've took my DNA test too.
Yeah. So people outside America, they can order a DNA test kit from African ancestry. So it doesn't matter where you're from in the continent, whether you're in America or outside America. You
Yeah,
can still order
that
kits.
one.
Yeah. So I ordered a kit from African ancestry while I was in France. And when you guys come out to talking about the white people have an agenda against your DNA, again, African ancestry is not a white company. It's an African American own company, so therefore they don't have any agenda, bro. So again, they didn't ask me my race, they didn't ask me where I'm from. They just said to go send they sent me 2 kits. They sent me a patana sample and one for like your mitochondrial DNA. So that's what they asked to. So apart from all that, they didn't ask me what is my race, what is my nationality. They didn't ask for any of that. They just basically asked me where I want the results to be inboxed to. So again, they told me exactly what tribe I was from in Africa. So if DNA test from America can tell me exactly what tribe I'm from in Africa, despite them not even knowing my location, and I was in France at that time, why do you guys come out and calling DNA test quote unquote an agenda? It don't make no sense, bro. So are you saying the so-called people from America magically found out what tribe I was from in Africa? No, they took a sample and they tested it and they did a sequence DNA, and as a reference panel to the multiple samples the African ancestry has from Africa, they said, okay, hey, this person has a match with an African tribe in Nigeria. So when it comes to DNA test, it's 100%, it's 99% accurate. It tells you exactly where you're from and what tribe you're from. So let's be more logical. Let's stop promoting ignorance and illiteracy in the Black American community. There are Black American young kids that their dream is to become a geneticist. They are young kids. So when your fools come out talking about, oh, DNA test is the white man's knowledge, that is literally spitting in the face of those young Black American kids that are spending day and night studying to become geneticists in the future. Stop pushing illiteracy in the Black American community. It's bad. A lot of you guys are very terrible set of people. You're coming out here pushing lack of education and stupidity in the Black American community. It's very insulting, bro. You're spitting in the face of those young Black American kids that are dreaming of becoming scientists in the future. It's a very sad attitude you guys are bringing up, bro. It's very sad.
It's pretty much.
The lady said one thing.
Hold on, bro. You've been talking all the time. You know, with these pretending rabid vampires, that's like garlic, holy water to them. And the reason why it's like that, they know if they take that DNA test, it's going to tell them what they know who they really are. They know they're really from descendants of Africans, but they don't want to accept it. It's self-hatred.
It's lies.
I don't understand
one at a time,
what's
guys.
so shameful. I just want to know what's so shameful about that.
It's not shameful. It's not shameful, but it's rooted in self-hatred with proximity to white tea supremacy.
Very.
And they don't even realize
Y'all
it.
keep saying it.
Yeah,
No
but
one makes them say it.
hold on. So, do y'all want to have a conversation because you keep on talking every 2 seconds? You see, again, look at how Jeremy talks. Look at how Hillary talks. They speak for like a whole 2 minute span. If you want to speak, China, you can speak. But why do you have to speak? Why do you always say 2 words and go back on mute? Like, come on, that's not adult like. Come on, if you want to speak, then speak. Then mute your mind
Oh,
and let other people speak. Come on, you're not a little kid. Somebody say like one.
I know, I'm not.
Then say
Thank
what you
you.
want to say. Then mute up. Then let other people talk. Like
Why you
you don't just
always
keep on
mad,
rebutting.
dude? Dang, calm down.
He
Nobody's
do that
mad.
with everybody but the people that agree with him.
That is very much
It's not about
a
agreeing. It's about
WS.
facts. We deal with facts. We don't deal with feelings.
And if you are
No,
black,
no,
why
you
would
definitely deal with
Americans do
feelings
that?
because you condescend who don't agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't condescend anything or
If
You
anyone.
y'all are
don't, but
proud,
you definitely don't correct the people who agree with you when they condescend people in here.
Excuse me. When we say facts over feelings, it means that we choose to believe in facts, not the feelings.
I hear you.
behind it.
Right.
I
So
understand
why
that,
did you say
brother.
what you
But the
said?
thing
So why
about
you say
it,
what you said?
and I'm about to tell you, because the host himself will ridicule, condescend people before they even get to speak their plight.
Yeah, most of the time he just matching energy. Like
No, he's not.
99%
No,
of the
not the
time
thing
he
about it
matching
is,
the energy.
Hold on, Truth Smith.
nah,
Our elder is
uh-uh.
trying to say something. Let her speak.
I just and maybe it is just a me problem, but it just doesn't make sense because yes, I have relatives that were freedmen with Cherokee freedmen, but they're not indigenous. They were just freed by them. Choctaw has the same. So does Chickasaw. I can't remember. And there's another tribe that has
Seminole.
freedmen.
Seminole.
They're not indigenous to America. They're not Native American. They're still
story,
black,
ma'am.
babe. They're still black.
That's your story, and
They're
that's
still
beautiful.
from Africa.
Hold on, China.
It's the truth. I mean, admittedly, they do not keep great records here in America, but they still kept records. It's all there.
That's not our
They
record,
kept
though.
records
Burnt a
on
lot of
how
records
they
too.
laid us
Let her
The
in the
records are there.
boats.
The records are there, and I have my whole family all the way down to like maybe like the 1800 or 1810, and one family all the way to the 1700s. I was going to show the records, but everybody was talking. I can actually show you how DNA works and how you can pinpoint and trace your family by name through the records from the DNA. Now I can show you from my camera if Gummy allows me to do that.
Genealogy go
Sure.
deeper.
Oh, exactly. So how far without the
This is
DNA?
genealogy.
Hold on.
This is genealogy.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
nah,
let me
that's
can
not
I
the
ask you a
same thing.
For
question?
genealogy to
Without
take
the
place, you have
DNA
to have
without the
evidence. You have to
DNA.
have facts.
Okay,
That's
without the
that
DNA.
DNA and genealogy goes hand in hand, man. You
Okay.
just can't blindly make up stuff.
Hold on. Can you
Okay.
pretendian hyenas show some decorum?
Yeah, hold on a second. Let Hillary really needs
Now,
to
now
finish what she
I can
was
show
saying,
you
please.
I
how
want to
this
hear a
works.
question.
I can show you how this works with DNA and your genealogy. I actually took a
Do you
class
have it
on it,
ready?
and I took mine.
Omen, do you have it
Hello?
ready?
Genetics
Yes.
too, but go ahead. I'm listening, brother.
Okay.
Sorry, Omen, do
All
you
right.
have it
First, it
ready?
starts off with this. Can you see it? It
No.
starts off with your DNA profile, your ethnicity estimate. Now that's mine right there.
Your camera's not on, hun.
Gotta hit save, bro.
Hit save. Oh,
There you go. All right, let me put you on the screen.
okay. All right. It starts off with that. All right. That's your ethnicity estimate, right? You see those are the areas where I have ancestry. I have Central American, Mexico, South America, and of course you got Europe over here, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, and there's Africa right there, and there's the Middle East right there. Right? Okay. Now I was shocked to see I had Mesoamerican ancestry, right? And the funny part is like, because I always thought I had, Native American ancestry, the Mesoamerican. But I actually have Native American ancestry, but how DNA works in my family, right? I have 3 sisters, right? 3 sisters. They all have Native American ancestry, like less than 1%. But all the men, all the brothers, we didn't get it. It's crazy. We didn't get it. but the ancestry passed to my sisters. So I went ahead and called, the company and said, how come my sisters have Native American ancestry at 1% and less than 1%, and me and my brothers don't? And they said that it is all based on traits. So most likely, a female who was Native American passed that trait down to your sisters, and that's why you didn't get it, you and your brothers.
Yes, but
So
OJ, but one of the reasons why it's not really all about that for female lines, about like when it comes to, so if you're familiar with the idea of DNA test, when it comes to 2 parents creating a child, so some parents, most of the times parents they don't pass the same chromosomes. When it comes to what makes up DNA test, is mostly chromosomes. So when it comes to your parents, they don't pass the same chromosomes to all their kids. So some kids might inherit their traits differently from some of the kids. Let's say your parents give birth to 5 kids. Some of the parents might pass down. Some of the kids might inherit more chromosome from the dad. Some of the kids might inherit more traits from the mom. So it doesn't really come 50-50. So therefore, you're gonna find some kids that inherit more traits from the mom than the dad. So that's what they obviously meant when they said that, hey, it's mostly coming from you inheriting different traits from your parents, because sometimes when it comes to kids, they inherit different traits from different parents. It doesn't just come half and half a lot of the times.
yes, and so
So I just
going back to the
you was
Mesoamerican
looking.
part. Let me come on
Now,
now,
hold
come on.
on.
oh, I just want to have
Jeez.
just one correction. All of that area that you're looking there on the left-hand side of your screen, down to South America, that's all indigenous native land. Just to help you understand.
Yes. So I was curious about the Mesoamerican part, right? Like, where in the heck did the Mesoamerican part come from? So when I looked at that Pacific area and matched, I noticed I had a lot of, cousins that were who actually took the test, and they were from, Mexico and Central America. None of these people were, African American, right? And they all had, like 80% Mesoamerican, 90%, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So I had to do some research, right? So obviously there had to be one ancestor that had this trait, because that 1% Native American came from my great 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 grandparents, and they all were from Florida, you know. And so I went ahead and did some digging, and then I found one ancestor. And that ancestor from that side matched all those Mesoamericans. And it was this one. Hold on, let me slide back. Oh,
Yeah, but hold on. But again, but if you do have that family that your great grandmother,
okay, it's
you will
right
really
here.
come.
Here's the census record. God, dog it. Here's the census record right here, 1870. And you see here, here's my great 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 grandfather named William Mann. His wife was 45, named Angeline. As you look at the record here, William Mann was black, but Angeline was listed as mulatto. You see the M right there.
Mulatto.
That's where that came from.
So
She
let
had
me
the
let me.
Mesoamerican
So
ancestry,
hold on.
and the
Let me
North
hold on.
African, and the
Hold on.
Spanish, and the Middle
Hold on. Oh
Eastern
man.
ancestry.
Oh man. Hold on first. Hold on. So we gotta actually help you out on this. So I feel like you get a little bit confused when it comes to what you're saying. So okay, we gotta deal. Okay, we're gonna deal with 3 things you make. So you want to speak about your. You said when you called the DNA test company, they said that you have inherited different traits from your parents. So they were not referring to you having an indigenous American trait from the mother side. No. So when it comes to parents, when it comes to the offsprings of your parents, if you understand any single thing about DNA
No,
and
no.
how the
Well,
kids come in, hold on. I'm
Angeline
trying to
didn't
get.
come from the Native
I'm trying to go to
American.
some. I'm trying to get to somewhere though, because I feel like, so if you want to
Tell
speak, you
him
can
about
speak.
his lineage.
I'm saying if you want to speak, you can speak. The when you don't speak, then I can go, because right now I'm trying to actually go drop my cousin at school, so I'm kind of busy right now. So again, if you want to don't speak, you can don't speak. But after you're done, let me finish what I'm saying. That's what I want to do. Just let's give each other the courtesy. Understand? So if you're not done speaking, you can keep on speaking. Then once you're done, then I can come out here and correct what you're saying. So if you want to keep on talking, then you can go ahead. But I'm just actually finish my point. You understand? Yeah, so if you're done talking, you let me know, then I can come out and correct what you're saying. Yeah, so you can go ahead and finish what you're saying, OG. Then once you're done, I'll come out and rebut what you're saying.
That's beautiful, girl.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
yeah, that's the point. I'm not trying to basically go back and forth. So like, once you finish your point, but I'm saying you're incorrect in certain points. So once you're done with your point, I can come out and correct what you're saying. So are you done with your point? And we can correct what you're saying.
Well, I have a couple other things to add, but that's
I mean, but
on that side of the family
we should
is
go to a
where.
different topic though. I want to stick to where we are right now. We can't keep on
Well,
driving
hold
the
on.
car
Let me
when there's no
go.
oil
Let
right
me.
now.
Yeah, because a lot of people had a chance to
We
speak. I
can't
didn't
keep
have
on
a chance to
driving
say
the bus
anything.
when there's no gas in the bus. Like, we'll actually finish the point first before we skip to the next point, because there's a lot of
Yeah,
misinformation
but
coming
this
across in
this
this
is my
point.
point. This is the record here.
But that's not the point though. So again, we've gotten to the gas station. So let's stick at the gas station, bro. Again, you made your point. Okay, cool. So again, what you're making, I'm gonna deal with 3 points you made. So when it comes to you saying
Let him
you
speak,
called,
bro.
hold
Why you
on,
keep
I'm gonna
cutting him
drop you.
off?
I'm gonna
Yo,
drop you.
brother, can I take a
I'm gonna drop
screenshot of
you.
that? I want to.
Hold on.
Yo, drop that
Like,
other dudes.
dude, come on. I'm gonna drop you up, bro. Come on. Like, you don't like education. Like, you don't even like any single thing that's educational, bro. Like, you just want to just talk back and forth. Literally, anything that's education, you guys get so angry and infuriated, bro. So again, we're gonna get back to OG. I know a lot of you guys are a bunch of CIA-made lab rats. You lab rats don't like any single education getting passed across in the community, bro. You lab rats don't like education. So let me finish talking lab rats. You guys are gonna stay in the comments. Don't request for, bro. Stay in the comment section. You're not ready for this live, bro. So again, OG, I feel like you're making a lot of misinformation when it comes to what you're claiming. So again, when it comes to you said you called the company and they said, what did they tell you when you called them and inquired about why you have why you don't have the same percent as your sister that obviously took the same DNA test? Like, what did they tell you? Because they said they have inherited different traits. So can you repeat what they told you? I'm trying to understand what you claim, but I feel like there's a lot of misinformation in what you're talking about, Omen. So when you called the DNA test company, what did they tell you? When you asked about why you did not have the same percent of indigenous DNA as your sisters, what did they tell you?
Well, this is what they told me. They told me that that trait was only passed down to the females of the family, not the males. That's what they told me. But this woman here has nothing. It's not.
Okay, so hold on. So let's stop there. So I feel like you didn't understand what they told you when that company meant that code. So what they basically meant, if you know any single thing about DNA tests, again, when it comes to the offsprings of your parents, when the company said that, hey, your sister had this trait, because they were referring, when it comes to parents mostly pass different sets of chromosomes to their kids. So it's not 50-50. So when it comes to each parent, they pass out 23 chromosomes each to their parents. So the mom passes 23 chromosomes and the dad passes 23 chromosomes. So basically there are 46 chromosomes that getting passed from each parent. So when it comes to the offsprings of your parent, every single child cannot inherit the same exact chromosome from each parent. Why? Because it mostly comes in different forms. So every single child cannot inherit the same trait that the other child has gotten from their parents. So when it comes to the parents, they mostly pass half and half chromosomes. It's not coming in full. So again, the chromosome does not come in 46. And the parents mostly pass half. So therefore, the chromosomes cannot come in the same form in every single kid that they give birth to. So when it comes to your sisters having more indigenous DNA than you, that doesn't mean that, quote unquote, the Native American was just in the motherland. No, that means that your parents obviously cannot pass the same exact traits to you as a kid and your sisters, you understand? So when it comes to your DNA showing less indigenous DNA than your sister, that doesn't mean that, quote unquote, the mother side is where the indigenous American DNA is coming from. So it mostly means that your parents could not pass the same exact traits. And that's why the company said that, hey, you don't have more indigenous DNA, because why? Your parents could not pass the same traits that they did to your sisters. Because your sisters are a different child from you. So your sisters, they have inherited a distinct chromosome that has been passed down to them by your parents. So your parents cannot pass exactly the same genetic chromosomes to you as a distinct child from your sisters. So when it comes to your parents passing that 1% DNA test, it doesn't come from a fully indigenous ancestor. You understand? So when it comes to 1% DNA in you, that cannot come from your great-great-grandmother. Why? Because it will be much more than just 1%. Because when it comes to a lot of Black Americans, that 1% indigenous DNA they have, it doesn't come from an actual fully indigenous American. It mostly comes from something called an indirect ancestor. Again, there's difference between a direct ancestor that was fully representing a full ethnic group and an indirect ancestor. So when it comes to indirect ancestors, that basically means that our ancestors basically came across your Black American ancestors and mixed with them. So when it comes to Black Americans, that 1% indigenous DNA is inherited from an indirect ancestor. Mostly when it comes to the history of America, there were a bunch of white teen men that were known to get fizzy with indigenous women. So those white teen men will come out and they will basically grape the indigenous women. And when those kids were giving birth to the white teen mixed indigenous kids, they were more in a higher hierarchy as compared to the fully Black indigenous people. So at that time, those mixed biracial white teen indigenous kids, they look phenotypically more obviously white than as compared to a Black person. So at that time, those guys were more in the hierarchy than the Black African ladies. So those guys, those same kids, we quote unquote essay African women. That's how those African women inherited that 1% indigenous DNA in them. So that 1% indigenous DNA is coming from an indirect ancestor. So when it comes to you saying your people that your so-called great-grandmother is getting called a mulatto, so therefore that's how she has Mesoamerican DNA. No. So again, Mesoamerican DNA, that is not coming from Florida. Florida is not a Mesoamerican territory. Mesoamerica mostly refers to regions in Central and certain parts of North America, including Mexico. Florida is not considered Mesoamerican. So when it comes to your parents coming from Florida, that doesn't align to you having quote-unquote Mesoamerican DNA. So when it comes to your parents, that your great-grandparents getting called, that your great-great-grandperson getting called mulatto in the census, OG, mulatto does not refer to indigenous admixture. We've been this all along the life. It's not the first time you've been on this life. When it comes to this word mulatto, because it's very common for Black Americans to come on this panel and give this common misconception that just because their parents, just because their grandfather is getting called mulatto in the census, that means that quote unquote that is referring to them having indigenous admixture. So again, no, mulatto itself, that term is reserved for African people that were mixing with Europeans. So if you go look up the etymology of the word mulatto in every single, again, I have 7 dictionaries in my home. 7 dictionaries. I have the Oxford, the Yale, the Harvard. I have different dictionaries in my home. So when it comes to every single dictionary, if you go look at the etymology of the word mulatto, it mostly refers to the mixture of a Black person and a white person. Basically means African people mixing with white people. So that your great-grandmother is most likely an African person that was mixing with some of the whiteys. And that's why she was classified as mulatto in the census. If you go examine the actual census of America, mulatto only applies to the descendants of enslaved Africans. If you go examine the census of America, from the start of 1790, Black Americans were referred to as the slaves. So if you compare the census from 1790 to the 1900s, mulatto were put in the same category as the enslaved African people. So therefore, mulatto could not be assigned to indigenous people or people that have indigenous admixtures. Again, mulatto mostly refers to African people and Europeans. So therefore, you get a little bit confused on this OG, bro. I like what you're saying, but when it comes to where you're going now, it doesn't really make any more sense. You're gonna spread a lot of misinformation.
Hey, brother, hey, Gummy, let me tell you a history about Florida. The Spanish had brought native Mesoamericans from the Yucatan into Florida, bro.
Those are facts.
That's where it comes from. That's where it comes from.
Bro, I fly you
and the reason why I know that, I actually went to the Florida history, right? And I got that information. So I was wondering, where did Mesoamericans end up in Florida? So I went ahead and did the research. The Spanish actually brought
Let me get the big
Mesoamericans to Florida to work.
Hold on.
You know what I'm saying? Because the Native American population over there wasn't big.
Bro, at the end of the day, it's 1%.
Hold on first. Hold on again, but again, if you do have somebody from Florida, it's not going to show, again, the amount of quote-unquote people that were sent from the Yucatan to Florida is very tiny, bro. So again, this one, I feel like what you're just basically grasping at what is
Yeah, I
not there.
mean, it says Mutikau,
Yeah,
she was just
I feel like
mixed
you're basically grasping at
with
what is not
different
there, bro.
ethnicities, bro. That's all I say. I'm
Bro,
not
I feel
saying
like you're
that I'm
really grasping.
100%.
It's not really
All
there,
I'm
bro.
saying
The
is
amount,
showing where that
bro,
part came from. It came from that
bro,
lineage right there.
bro. The
But at the
Yucatan people did not
Mesoamericans,
get
like
sent to
Back on the
Florida
Mesoamerican,
in
big
North
mass.
screen,
African,
please.
So hold
Spanish,
on,
and
hold on, hold
Middle
on.
Eastern. So it all, I mean,
Okay,
like everybody on
so
her side comes from that.
so, bro,
All the people
you're
I'm
getting a
related
bit
to
confused. Hold
are
on,
like,
hold on, first, Jeremy. Hold on, first, Jeremy. So again, bro, I feel like you're grasping at what is not there, OG. You're
So
grasping
now
what is
you have a
not there.
problem.
I'm going to drop you. I'm going to drop you. I don't want you shouldn't be on this panel anymore. You're too shy. You should be on this panel. You can't actually have a conversation. You have a brain of a goldfish. Don't come on this panel anymore, literally. You're annoying. So again, OG, I feel like you're grasping at what is not there. So again, you came out and making the assertion that just because your great grandparents is getting called a mulatto, that means that they have indigenous admission. No. So when it comes to this term mulatto, I feel like you've been on this panel long enough to understand what those term means. When it comes, there have been multiple Black Americans that have come on this panel and asked what is the term mulatto, and I literally just break down the definition of that word to them. So when it comes to the term mulatto, I'm going to actually give you the explanation. I'll also show you the definition by the census in America. So I'm going to give you guys two primary source evidence, as you can see. So when it comes to the term mulatto, as you can see, mulatto, the definition, a person of mixed white and black ancestry. Again, OG, you've been on this panel for long. When it comes to we as a people, we know that Black Americans, they are not Indian, nor are the white people Indian. So therefore, the word, these two people coming together could not make an indigenous person or make an indigenous admixed person. Again, we can't come out and be unintellectual. We can't come out and be intellectually dishonest when it comes to we speaking on this topic. As you can see, mulatto refers to white people and black people, as you can see. So as you can see, when it comes to the word mulatto, it's referring to African people mixing with Europeans. We know their race. Indigenous Americans were not white, nor were they ever getting called mulatto, you understand? So when it comes to this term, it mostly refers to people of African heritage that were mixing with Europeans. You can see. So when it comes to this term mulatto, if you examine, again, you came out here showing a document from the census. Again, let's go examine the term mulatto in the census, and let's see if that term applies to your great grandparent that you mentioned. So let's see if that term, you came out and mentioning your parents getting classified as mulatto. That means that, quote unquote, they would be indigenous. So again, let's examine the census and let's see if the census also applies to indigenous people getting called mulatto. So let's see, as you can see, so this is a primary source coming from the census. Again, the census.gov, a primary source. This coming from your own country. Again, because you came out to presenting the census. So therefore, this coming, the only way to actually understand and debunk the narrative will be coming out and presenting a source that's coming directly from the United States Census. You can see the United States Census.gov. As you can see, the primary source documentation. You can see, so again, measuring, the name of it is called the Measuring Race and Ethnicity Across the Decades from 1790 to 2010. As you can see, map to 1997 U.S. Office of Management and Budget classification. As you can see, when we're speaking about if the term mulatto applied to indigenous people, even indigenous admixed, as you can see, so as you can see, we're going to start following the points again. So again, the blue, if you can pay attention, the blue, as you can see, it says slaves. The blue stands for black people. So again, pay attention, everybody keep on paying attention on this color blue. So again, blue stands for the enslaved people. We know that indigenous Americans, they were not getting called slaves in America. The slaves mostly refers to African people in the census, because starting from 1790 is the census from the first census in 1790. Historically, there were only black people, African people getting called slaves in America. Again, the orange stands for the white, as you can see, white people, free whiteys and females and males. You can see the whitey people is the orange, and the blue stands for the slaves, African slaves. So again, when it comes to the indigenous Americans, they only started coming into play in the census in 1870s. As you can see, again, the slaves, let's keep on going. Again, from the 1790 census, the blue is the slaves. From the 1810 census, the blue is the slaves. Then from the 1830, the blue is the slaves of free people of color. These are all black people. No mention of indigenous. Again, let's keep on going. Again, the blue, we made an assertion that when it comes to the blue, it's coming from African slaves. Indigenous people only first appeared in the census in what? 1870. Again, The purple is the indigenous people. As you can see, this classification is meant for the Indians. So when it comes to you, OG, making a claim that your so-called grandma or your great-grandmother that is quote-unquote Indian is a mulatto, as you can see, let's examine the sense. Let's go by the sense and see if you as a person also applies to indigenous people getting called mulatto. As you can see, the purple represents the Indians. As you can see, we start from the first quote, 1790, the African slaves getting called slaves up until the 18 terms, getting called free people of color up until the 1830. We keep on going. Then we goes to what? Black and mulatto. So again, mulatto only applies to African slaves, the blue. And again, we keep on going. Black and mulatto in 1850. We keep on going. Black and mulatto in 1870. But yeah, there's a different classification of indigenous people. Again, Indians have a different classification from mulatto. So therefore, you can't have a great-grandparent that is quote-unquote Indian getting classified as mulatto. Because why? Mulatto is reserved for the descendants of enslaved Africans that were mixing with the Europeans. Black Americans, historically, they were basically essayed a lot by the Europeans. So therefore, the Europeans were essaying African ladies. And those were the people that were mixing with the whites. As you can see, so again, indigenous people and mulattoes, they had two different classifications. So if you are a so-called Black American, your grandma is getting called mulatto, in the census, is most likely that grandma is a descendant of enslaved Africans. Again, the slaves in the census that was mixing with the Europeans. You can see the definition of the word mulatto applies to a person mixed with whitey and black ancestry. As you can see, so again, the person in that census OG is most likely an African lady that was mixing with Europeans. So therefore, that person is not Indian. Why? Because indigenous people, they had a different
And I never said she was
classification
Indian.
from mulatto.
I never said she was Indian.
I'm saying she was not
just
mixed. She was not mixed. That's the point. But mulattoes are mixtures of Europeans. But you're not getting the point, OG. Mulattoes are mixtures of, of course she's mixed. But she was mixed with white tea, though. She was not mixed with Indian. That's the point. There were no indigenous admixed person getting called a mulatto. The mulatto refers to mixed white tea people.
Do you know Louisiana Creole, right? Louisiana Creoles are mixed
Creoles are not
with
indigenous,
European,
man.
Indian, and African.
They're not Indians, bro. Like, come on, OG. Like,
Actually,
Indian.
Louisiana Creole is black and French.
Yeah, he's not Indian. He's black.
No,
and,
I'm talking about
and
in the
European.
census. They're listed as mulatto as well.
The Indians are not called mulatto.
No, they were listed as black unless they had a French white person that had mated with them. But the thing is,
you cannot be mixed with white, black, and Indian at the same time. That's
you
can't make that conclusion because it's in the DNA, and the people that match on there are all Mexican.
I feel like your
You see what I'm saying?
grandson.
All of them are Mexican. The people I match in that DNA on that side of family, other than my own relatives, they are all Mexicans. And
They're not mixed. Again, mulatto is a racial classification.
They're not black.
You gotta listen, man. You gotta listen, man. Yes, you can see mulatto is a racial classification that refers to people of African. You gotta listen.
Bro.
You gotta listen. You've been on the panel long enough. You know we don't do that back and forth. Come on, you gotta listen. We're trying to help you out. So again, nobody's too old to learn. You understand? You saw that lady Pam came on the panel and she said, "Hey, I got it wrong." And after you gave me the advice, I went to go do my research. And so let's not be so eager to just argue about something. So again, we're showing you a source. We're pulling up a source.
Hold on, Jay. Let me say this
to help you out. It's not just all about arguments.
He's talking about 1%. It don't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand.
It's 1%.
It don't make no sense, bro. Literally doesn't make any sense.
At this point, it's
not only that though. It's not just that.
She's not on the 1%. The Mesoamerican is actually 4%. That's a totally different side.
But
the 1% is another ancestor,
even
not the same ancestor I just saw.
Even 4% is insignificant.
That's a different ancestor. The 1% came from the Washington side of my family,
bro.
Not the Mesoamerican side.
Check this out.
Hold on.
Give me a second.
Let me say this. He's a pretendian. I could be wrong, but he's a pretendian.
It's not really a pretendian. I mean, hold on, Jeremy. It's an African
some Native American ancestry. It's a man pretending to be an Indian. I want to know people.
Hold on. So it's not pretending, but I feel like what he's saying is very pretending-ish because again, when it comes to this panel, we can't be biased, women. You know, when it comes to what we stand for, we always go by the information. We don't twist and turn the information. On this panel, we go over facts over feelings. It's a fact over feelings panel, so we don't twist and turn our information. So when it comes to we as a person, if a pretending also came on this panel speaking about his so-called family ancestor, being an indigenous Cherokee Indian, but we were called mulatto in the sense. So the same thing I will also show this pretending, the same thing I will show you in the sense. So let's not be biased. Again, the word mulatto represents African people and European admixture. Like, let's not be biased. Every single dictionary says that. You see?
Like the
In
4%
the American
is
South, the term mulatto was also applied to persons with
no, it
mixed
wasn't.
Native American
No,
and
it
African
No, it
American
wasn't. No,
ancestors.
it was not.
Right there.
That I
Right
do
there.
know.
bro.
That I do know because they did not even do a census on the Native Americans until they were removed. That's when they had to. But
about mixed people
no, all mixed people
ancestry.
in the South were not labeled. You know, if they were mixed
there,
with anything but white,
Okay.
they were not mulatto. Mulatto was meant for just white and black.
Correct.
That's it.
Because that's not true.
Yes,
That
it
is
is.
true.
That is true.
No, it's
That
not.
That is
is.
true. So again, I'm
Yes,
going.
it
Hold
is.
on. So I'm going. Go drop thing. You don't
I'm
gotta drop
from
thing.
Georgia.
Yeah. So I put up a source. I
I've
put up.
been all through it.
Yeah, I put up an Oxford dictionary, but you see coming out to deny what I'm saying. So we're gonna go to it. Like I said, this is another again. I have 7 dictionaries at home, sir. So when it comes to definition of words, I take it very seriously. So again, I put up an Oxford dictionary. We said that's not good enough. So we're gonna go to the next dictionary. As you can see, the word mulatto from the Britannica dictionary. Again, a very well credited site that obviously speaks about history. As you can see, Britannica. What does it say? We'll scroll down a little bit. As you can see, mulatto. Britannica dictionary definition of the term mulatto. As you can see, a person with black and one whitey parent. Like, it's just that easy. Like, let's not be intellectually dishonest. We know what the term means. We can't come out here and twist and turn information to fit our narrative. You understand? So the term is there. So when it comes to historically in America, that term is mostly referring to whitey people obviously doing the bad stuff to the African ladies. You understand? And most of the times, the term mulatto is mostly referencing to African ladies getting essay. So this is a very deep history, bro. So when it comes to we speaking on this topic, let's be a little bit more respectful of the African heritage and the African ladies and what they went through at that time in slavery. Because as you can see, literally speaks about, as you can see, this is an actual history from the Jim Crow Museum, speaking about a first-hand account of an African lady, speaking about her experience of her giving birth to a mulatto kid. As you can see, she portrayed the light-skinned woman as an offspring of a whitey slaveholder and an enslaved black female. So when it comes to mulattoes, it's not a black man, bro. Come on, there's no black men mixed with whitey ladies to create a mulatto. That is not happening. See, it was whitey men essaying African ladies. So when it comes to we speak of this history, let's be more intellectually honest, bro. But we're actually coming out and hold on, we're basically picturing in this. Hold on, I'm not done talking. Come on. I'm saying, well, hold on, you gotta listen. You gotta listen and calm down, bro. Again, you're basically picturing indigenous ladies in the traumatic history of African I'm not done talking though. You're picturing indigenous ladies in the traumatic history of African American ladies' history, bro. That is very insulting, bro. As you can see, this is the first-hand account of an African lady speaking on her experience giving birth to a light-skinned baby from the Jim Crow Museum. Go look it up, bro. As you can see, it's called the tragic mulatto meets an anti-black imagery. As you can see, said it herself, bro. She's portrayed the light-skinned woman as an offspring of a whitey slaveholder. Again, slave owners were essaying African ladies, and they were the ones that were creating the offspring of mulattoes. So we know what we're talking about. Right? Let's not be biased, man. Even Frederick Douglass himself was a mulatto. He was mixed. Well, he had a whitey father. So like when you come out and talking about mulatto applies to indigenous people, like that is insulting, man. Is Frederick Douglass an indigenous man? Is Frederick Douglass an indigenous man? Does he have indigenous admixture? No, he doesn't. His parent literally, bro. Should I pull up a primary source? Should I pull up an actual primary source of your own people in the 1800s speaking about what is a mulatto? Okay, there's actually.
I did not
I'm
say
saying
that.
I'm saying mulatto does not apply to indigenous admixed people, bro. So again, there's actual
I
first
did
hand.
not say
Hold
that.
on, hold on, bro. There's actual first hand documents of Frederick Douglass himself
Bro,
saying,
I
"Hey,
did not say that.
you're not listening though. You're not listening though.
Not
You did say
saying
that,
that.
bro. You just said mulatto applies to indigenous
I just
admixed
said that
people."
you just mixed with all those different
Bro, she was not
ethnicities,
mixed, bro. Bro,
That's
it's
all
not
that
a Kool-Aid, man. It's not Kool-Aid. You can't just mix
the
things up,
person
bro.
cannot be
It's not cool. That's not
white and black at the same time.
bro, that's not how it works, man. Come on. Like, you can come
Well,
about
there's
again. That was
mulattoes.
talking about you,
You know, they have people called quadroons and octoroons. You know,
exactly.
but mulatto was strictly European and African.
Exactly, you're 100% right, sister. And
Strictly.
I'm actually glad you brought up the Octorum. Because Octorum basically explains the event of how the Europeans dissected the very admixed people in America. Octorum refers to a black person that has one black parent. Yeah, a person that has one grandparent that's black. That's an Octorum. So the Europeans, they had perfect way to dissect people that were very admixed in America, and they would never call
Yeah.
one black grandparent lady a mulatto. No, mulatto represents a whitey parent, obviously, which was a father, because the fathers were the ones that were essaying the ladies, and the African woman that was going through that traumatic experience with that whitey man that procreated a mulatto baby. So let's stop twisting and turning history, sir. That ain't gonna work.
Bro, I'm not twisting any history, bro. Look at it. Okay,
I mean,
I
you
want
are,
y'all to
bro.
read
You are, bro.
this. No, I'm not twisting any history. A person, so basically, say for instance, I marry a white woman or a woman who is mixed with white and Native American
Gotta say
ancestry.
YT,
Listen
YT,
to me.
YT.
Listen
Gotta
to
say
me.
YT.
Just
They're trying
listen
to help
to
you
me.
out, bro.
Stop
You
it.
gotta
Stop
say
it. Yeah,
YT.
white
You
tea.
gotta.
White tea. Okay. This is okay. So I'm black. Of course, you see my ancestry is diverse, but I'm black primarily, Nigerian primarily. So if I marry a woman who is mixed with Native American ancestry, African ancestry, and European ancestry, we have a child. What would that child be considered in that census?
Somewhat
What
like
would that child be
Creole,
considered in that census if we had a
Creole,
child?
Creole.
No, it
There,
wouldn't be
there,
Creole because the
there,
census
there,
wouldn't be called Creole.
bro.
No,
There are multiple.
I'm saying the lineage
Yeah.
they will be
Well
Creole,
done, so,
but on
bro.
paper,
Why you on the panel, Shana? Come on, bro. You know you ain't got nothing, man. Come on, like this is not the time to bring your like literally. So again, when it comes to the European people, they had multiple classifications. So when it comes to the way they classified admixed people, they were not dumb. Europeans might be racist, but when it comes to dissecting people's race, those guys were good at that. When it comes to them racistly dissecting you from being as close to a whitey man, they were doing that perfectly. So when it comes to the Europeans, they won't call a 99% European person mulatto. So when it comes to different classification of people that are very admixed in America. Oh, you know, we don't wrong with AI on this panel, bro. So when it comes to different classification of indigenous people, of African people that were extremely mixed with Europeans, they had different classification terms for them. So they would either call them quadroon, what is that mentioned? They would either call them octoroon. So quadroon or octoroon were the terms that we used to refer to people that had that very diverse ethnic ancestry. In America, as you can see, it says the term,
That's not in census record.
come on, bro. It is a term, bro. It's in the census record, bro.
Census record with that in there.
So again, as you can see, again, you asked,
me
bro,
in
you asked, bro. So now you're being biased, bro. Again, you act like a pretender now. Like, what's the difference, bro? Like, you're not letting me talk. Like you're not putting up a source.
Okay, all I know.
Like, come on. So again, I'm not done talking. So again, say you asked what would your child be called if your child had a bunch of admixed whitey parents. So again, I'm giving you the term. As you can see, the term quadroon. When it comes to different very admixed people, they had terms to refer to them. They were not calling them mulattoes. The people that had a triracial admixture, they were not being called a mulatto. They had a different term for them. As you can see, it was either octoroon or quadroon. As you can see quadroon, a term that whitey people used in the 19th and throughout the early 20th century to refer to people who had one grandparent that was perceived as black or African American. So when it comes to you having a quote-unquote triracial or very admixed quote-unquote indigenous person that was having black ancestry, they would not call that person a mulatto. Again, the term mulatto was reserved for African people that had or European slave owner husband. You understand? So at that time, the term mulatto applied to those guys. So when it comes to the extremely very hard mixed people in America, even from the top to the bottom, they had a term to refer to them, either quartering or octoroon. As you can see, the term people use as the 19th and early 20th century to refer to people who had one grandparent that was perceived as black or African American, and the rest of the percentage was whitey. In cruder terms, someone who was quarter black. So when it comes to the quarter, when it comes to you saying, oh, your family was quote unquote African, whitey, and indigenous, they will most likely be called this term quartering because that person had a 1/4 black in them. You understand? So if you were actually caught, if that your so-called grandma was quote unquote a quarter black, she would not be called a mulatto. Mulatto refers to half black and half European. That's what it refers to. So you can see this term quartering refers to the people that were quarter. So your grandma was most likely a quarter, your grandma was most likely a half black person that had whitey DNA. She wasn't a quartering. So again, there was no indigenous DNA in there. So you can see the other term octoroon, that refers to a term that whitey people used in the 19th and throughout the early 20th century to refer to people who had one great grandparent. This also touches on your grandma getting called a term. This referring to your great grandparents again, or great grandparents who was perceived as black and African American, and the rest of the percentage was whitey. In cruder terms, someone who had a 1/8 black. So again, when it comes to the quarter and the 1/8, the whitey people, they had terms to refer to those people. So therefore, if your great grandmother was actually a very admixed person, they wouldn't refer to her as mulatto in the sense of, so they would either call her octoroon or quartering. So those are the terms.
But how would they know all of that way back then? They didn't have any specific way to track genealogy and measure how much ancestry you actually had. So they had to just use those terms blindly. And it says right here in this academic source right here, it says why they did that. You know what I'm saying? They just judge you by your appearance. You see what I'm saying? These people didn't come and tell you that, hey, I was this and that or the other. You know, they see this light-skinned woman or pale-skinned looking woman that had certain features. You see what I'm saying? That were clearly not Anglo-Saxon or typically white, right? And she clearly looks like she's mixed with something. White. So again, hold on. Again, so back in the South,
I'm taking my time to break down every single angle because you came out and giving up different excuses on why your grandma or your great grandparents will most likely be indigenous. But again, I literally told you, I gave it the term that they were calling people that were quarter black. I gave it the term that they were calling the 1/8 people that were black. So again, I've tried to explain. I can't really do any more at this point.
I mean, I just showed you an academic source that says why people who were possibly mixed with those variations were still considered mulatto. I have the source right here, and it's academic from a university. This is not an Opertinian making up or a grifter making this up. You see what I'm saying? Because back in the days when people were add mixing, and then you had evolution come from generation to generation, there's no way to specifically say how much an individual had. So it's all speculative at that point. So obviously I have the ancestry because it's there. And according to that test, you know what I'm saying, the people who are related on that side of the family are Mesoamerican. Like, I mean, so
I feel like you're making a stretch at this point. I feel like you're making a stretch at this point.
The only person that can truly answer that question is a professional genealogist, someone like I
literally just pulled up bro, come on. I literally just put up like I pull up, bro, like come on. So now you're kind of insulting me. I literally just put up like 5 different sources trying to educate you, bro.
I just showed you a source. That shows you why some of those
come on, bro. I literally put up like 5 different sources trying to educate you on this topic. I put up the census record from 1790 to 2010. I put up a whole definition. Come on, bro. I actually took my time to actually educate you on what you're talking about. I actually took my time because when it comes to you as a person, you're not a newcomer on the panel. So I can't want to talk now. So again, you're not a newcomer on the panel. I actually took my time to basically break down and help you understand that what you're claiming is wrong, bro. Because again, you're not a new person on this panel. So when I took my time, I basically broke it down step by step. I didn't want to be disrespectful to you, bro. So again, I brought up the census and how the term mulatto only applied to enslaved people. I brought up the definition, the Oxford definition, the Britannica definition of the word mulatto. I literally put up a whole first-hand document from the Jim Crow website, speaking about how a lady was referring to a mulatto kid as a descendant of an enslaved African-American female lady and a white slave owner, bro. I literally put up multiple documents defining the quadrant, the octaron, and how the term, if your so-called great-grandmother was actually quote-unquote quarter black, she would have either been called a quadrant or an octaron and not an actual mulatto. So like, what do you want, bro? I put up like different sources, bro. I can't really help you at this point. It's kind of getting annoying. Like y'all take my education from y'all come on this man every single day underestimating the amount of time I take to basically teach and educate some of you guys, bro. It's getting annoying at this point, bro. I can't do nothing, bro. But like I said, the word mulatto applies to white people mixed with black people. You can't do nothing on that, bro. I literally pull up a story that basically speaks about what a quarter black person would be called. Quarter black people that had a great grandmother was called a octaron. The quarter black people that had a grandparent that was black, those were called quadrant. So again, your grandma was not a mulatto. The grandma was not a quote unquote quarter indigenous person. She was not quarter black. She was a fully African lady that either got our mother was most likely a fully African lady that was mixing with a European white man to create a mulatto. That's the history, man. I know it might sound a little bit painful to you as a black American, but that's the true history, bro. That's how it happened. You can't twist and turn history to fit your narrative. That ain't gonna work.
The big screen to correct the Creole misinformation.
Somebody mentioned the Creoles. Who mentioned the Creoles?
Hillary did. Let me correct her.
No, but what I was saying is, if you look at the census
came up
records,
here
bro,
just
you
for
only
that.
got black, white tea, and mulatto. So which one can you pick?
That's my lineage.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, I thought you were indigenous to this land.
That's why.
So
I'm
you're Creole now.
No, so I'm about to
just so everybody knows.
Let me. Can I get the big screen? Creoles have indigenous lineage. Crazy.
No, they don't.
Don't. They're French.
Which is
Okay.
European,
Okay. Let me get the big
and
screen
white
to correct it. Let
no.
me get the big screen.
No. Creole is French.
Oh, you want to? No, ma'am.
people with
You
the black
want to
people.
lie? You want to lie?
Britannica.
Let me show my. Let
He
me show
could
my
pull
source.
up Britannica again.
Let me show my
And he
source.
could bring up.
Okay,
Webster,
can I show my source?
Merriam-Webster, the whole nines. They'll still say the same.
Okay, can I show my source?
Exactly.
Let me show my source. Don't lie. Let me show my source what it is.
You're the one that's spreading misinformation.
No, I'm not. Let me
Yes,
show
you
my
are.
source on what a Creole is.
Creole is not indigenous native, period.
Let me show my source then. Okay,
any
well, let me show
person
my
of
source.
European, mostly French or African descent, born in the West Indies or parts of French America.
Okay, so let me show my source.
Like Pope Leo is Creole.
Okay, let me show my source. Put me on the big screen.
The Louisiana Creole culture was originally.
How about you ask a little more politely?
Okay, can I get on the big screen, please?
Let her show her. Let her show her source. We all know how it's going to end up. Let her show.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Let me prove who we are. Because you're not gonna spread no misinformation on my lineage, especially not Creoles from Mississippi or Louisiana.
Well, you're not
Creoles are strictly in the Louisiana
No, they not.
area.
Let me show my source. Okay,
Yeah,
can I present my source?
Hurry up and let her present her source because you know once we debunk it, we're gonna take it down. So let her present.
Okay.
Well, it's supposed
The
to be
difference. Okay, let me talk. Let me talk.
Don't you yell at me or I'll drop you.
I know you is because you want to be
stop yelling at
lie.
me.
Okay.
China, stop. China, stop it. Stop it, China. Read your source.
Okay, so the difference, I'm not acting like a child. You just want to lie. Resize my screen.
Can you please tell us where your source is located on the web?
You don't have to, sister. Just let her read it. We can debunk it. Just let her read it.
You can't debunk this. You can't debunk a lineage. Okay, so somebody resize my screen, one of the mods, because it's kind of cut off.
It's the way your screenshot is.
Okay, hold on. Let me try to fix it.
The difference between Cajuns and Creole. We all know the Arcadians that came from Canada, they are part of the Cajuns in Louisiana. It's easily debunked. This information is easily debunked. And maybe I spoke too soon because she might not show it no more.
Show it. I was trying to resize the picture so it won't be cut off.
Hillary, we can't hear you, sis. You're on mute. Okay.
Okay, so it says the term Creole can have many meanings, but during the era of Louisiana...
That's not what the title says. The title says, if I'm correct, because
can you say it? Let me read. You said let me read it. The
difference between Cajun and Creole, we already know the difference.
God, allow me to read my source, or you gonna read it for me?
Go ahead.
See, now you being disingenuous. Okay, there we go. Now we can see the whole. The term Creole can have many meanings, but during the early days of Louisiana, it meant that a person was born in the colony and was a descendant of the French or Spanish parents. The term is derivative to the word Creole, which means native, local, or was intended a class of distinction. In present Louisiana, Creole generally means a person of people of mixed colonial French, African American, and Native American ancestry. The term Black Creole refers to freed slaves from Haiti and their descendants. Like I said, don't you ever lie on my Louisiana Creole.
Hold on. We all know Louisiana was a part of the French colony. What are you mad about?
Okay, because she up here lying, talking about something. It's only a French and African and white. Don't lie.
Hold on. Who are you saying that about?
I wasn't talking to you.
Did not lie.
You did lie. You said it was only French.
Hold
and
on.
You left out the Spanish part.
It's French.
And you left out the Spanish part. There's Haitian Creoles.
Oh no.
Ma'am. That's Creoles from Haiti, ma'am.
Well, Hillary, my elder,
well,
really
yes, I did leave out the Spanish, but Spanish is Spaniard.
Spaniard, baby.
She's very misinformed. She's very misinformed. And she does not know the history.
Oh my God.
Okay, if you know the history, China,
that's where I'm from, sir.
Okay, no, you're from Mississippi.
You from Mississippi.
Creoles was in the Louisiana territory.
Okay, so since
Louisiana territory.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Florida, Alabama,
ask you a question.
It did not exist of Alabama.
Let me ask you this quick question. Where does the Cajun people come from?
Came from Canada.
No, they didn't.
So they ain't from Nova Scotia?
They're from Europe. Where did the Cajun people
Where did they settle?
From?
Where did they settle before going to Louisiana? Okay, where did they settle before going to Louisiana?
They settled in the United States.
No.
I mean, not the United States. They settled in America.
Hold on.
Where did the Cajun people come from?
Sir.
I'm not asking that. It's a specific question.
The Louisiana
Where did the Cajun people come from?
The Louisiana territory stretched
Where did the Cajun people come from?
If you let me finish, I'm finna tell you. How you gonna sit up there and tell me I don't know about my history and I'm born in it?
That's not your history.
How it's not? Sir,
You're
I'm a Mississippi, Louisiana Creole.
You're from Mississippi.
Mississippi have Creole heritage.
You cannot speak not one Creole word.
I don't speak the Creole dialect. No, I don't.
Okay, so
my grandparents did though.
Part of culture is being able to speak the language.
My grandparents did.
I'm not finna go back and forth to you.
Cause you can't.
If your grandparents was speaking Creole language, you would be able
Check
to
the
say
comments. Check
you
the
would
comments.
you
See
would
if
be
I said
able to
I'm not
say to
lying.
me,
Check the
"Sa
comments, sir.
passe." Listen, you would be able to say to me, "Sa
I
passe,
speak it
ma
sometime. I speak
boule."
it sometime.
Sa passe, ma boule.
Nabule. Yeah.
French.
So why you say you can't speak the language?
I didn't say I couldn't. I said I don't. My grandparents spoke it fluently before they passed over, sir.
Okay, so what does zo mean?
Don't get up here. I know what a zo mean.
No, what does zo mean? You understood sa
You're not
passe,
even
ma
Creole, sir. How
boule.
you trying to school me on my heritage?
I'm from New York. I live
You're not Creole.
amongst
You was not
Haitians.
born. You was not
So
born in the
what does
territory.
the word zo mean?
You
Pretendians,
were not.
pay attention. What
Would
does
you
the
look at the
word
comments?
zo?
They telling you Mississippi was a part of the Louisiana territory.
Pretendian. Answer the question.
At the end of the
What
day,
does the word
at the end
zo
of the day,
mean?
at the
What
end of
does
the day,
the word zo mean? Pretendian.
at the end of the, you're not gonna
She
gaslight
can't
me.
answer the question
No, you're not
because
gonna
she's not
gaslight
a
me. No, because
Creole.
you're asking me a
Zo,
question
He's not
due to my
gaslighting.
heritage.
You are
zo is one of the
deflecting, but
first words that you
nonetheless.
learn in the Creole language.
Can I have 1
okay,
second?
but Jermaine,
I need to
prove.
go.
Okay, prove that I'm not who I am.
Hold on.
You're from Mississippi. You're
Thank
not.
you for having
Okay,
me.
Mississippi is a
Guys.
part of the Louisiana territory in that time, sir. It was Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, and Alabama, sir.
And then if you knew anything,
That
hold on.
was all
If
West
you,
Florida,
if you,
sir. Sir, that was all West Florida in that time, sir. That was West Florida. It was called West Florida, sir.
Yeah, she's not lying. I'm not
Thank
Louisiana
you.
Creole, but that's not pretendian stuff. There is Mississippian Creoles, and they do connect to Louisiana Creoles. There's multiple Creoles. I'm a Creole. I'm a Gullah Creole from Florida
Yes.
in the
From
Carolinas.
the Carolinas. They
And
settled in the Carolinas as well.
and
No, what we're
Sac
saying.
is Haitian Creole, and they don't speak Haitian Creole in
But there's
Louisiana.
German Creoles too. There's Chinese Creoles. There's Filipino Creoles.
Right.
But she's
So
claiming to be an indigenous native. That's why
I
she's
just read it
pretending.
to you.
Oh yeah, no, I can't argue with that. I don't but I do agree that Louisiana Creoles, they do have indigenous lineage. Not on a high scale yet.
Exactly. So again, apologize.
No, Creole again is not French. I'm not.
It's a multi-ethno
I'm Gullah.
group of people.
Yeah, I'm Gullah, and if you again want to look up Gullah, most of our ancestry is African. There's different kinds of Creoles throughout the U.S. It is what it is. China is not lying about this. So I think we need to look stuff up a little bit before we start trying to just
jump into conclusions.
Yeah.
My point, and I stand on that. You're talking about you're Mississippi. Did you not know that
Okay,
Louisiana was together?
so you've been on this planet too long. So you stop shouting. Yeah, I'm done wasting my breath on you guys. If you guys feel like an action normal person, drop off, like literally. Don't hear that shouting, like literally, like isn't it like 9 p.m. where you are or something? Like, why are you shouting?
So Gummy, they're trying to claim that Creole is a mix of indigenous, native, French,
I'm not trying to claim
Spanish,
it.
and
I proved
African
it.
American.
That's correct for Louisiana.
Multi-ethno of people.
The
Creole and Louisiana Creole.
Yeah,
The Louisiana
is going. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm saying the Louisiana Creoles, they do have some percent. Again, when it comes to Creole, again, keep friends. When it comes to this word Creole itself, if you look at the definition, Creole mostly apply to a French-speaking person. Again, anybody that was speaking French outside France, they were labeled as Creole. So when it comes to this word Creole, they actually maybe when it comes to the context of the United States, people mostly refer to the people that were mixed. But when it comes to the term itself, Creole, if you go examine the etymology, it literally says anybody that was speaking French was called a Creole. So you can't find people which French? What country speak French in the Caribbean? I don't know that country that speaks French. Somebody name a country that speaks French in the Caribbean. Yeah, so like you can't find people that say exactly Haitians. Again, there's Haitian Creoles. Haitian people they're not mixed, but yet they speak Haitian Creole. So again, Creole basically means a French-speaking person outside France. So yeah, exactly, Martinique. So when it comes to if you go examine documentation from those countries, there's actual people getting called Creole in the country. So when it comes to the definition of this word Creole, maybe in the context of America, and not the actual definition. If you go examine the dictionary definition of Creole, the actual definition mostly means a person outside France. So even the white people that were outside France, people in France, they refer to them as Creole. So anybody that speaks the French language, they were called Creole in America at that time. So when it comes to the context of the United States, the only reason why people mostly attain being mixed to being Creole, because those people that were being the only French-speaking country or the only French-speaking colony in America is mostly from Louisiana. So therefore, most people mostly assign the term Creole to the mixed people in Louisiana. But when it comes to the actual definition of the word Creole itself, it basically means a French-speaking person outside France. So there's nobody in France getting called Creole, because the word Creole is references to people outside the country that basically don't have strong ties to the French language. So they started labeling them as Creole. So go look it up. The definition of the word itself literally says a French-speaking person outside his native country in France. So again, there's people in Martinique, people in Haiti getting called Creole. So when it comes to the word Creole, it's not referencing indigenous admixture, any single thing like that. There's fully black people.
Hold on, Jay.
There's
Tell
fully
them
black
about
people.
the African. Tell them about the West African Creole.
Yeah, no, but yes,
I don't know about them.
Yeah, so again, there's fully black people in Martinique that they get called Creole. There's people in Haiti that are literally one of the most African people in America. But yeah, those guys speak Haitian Creole. So when it comes to the word Creole, it's just like
countries in West Africa speaks Creole.
Yeah. So basically, when it
You
comes
up here
to
badgering me about my lineage.
Because you from Mississippi, and historically, prior to the Louisiana Purchase, your black ass was brought from the southeastern corridor.
No,
You ain't
no, not mine.
Creole.
Mine came from the Caribbean.
Your
sir.
black ass was brought from the southeastern
Not
corridor.
mine. I know my
You
paper
don't
trail,
look
sir.
like a Creole. You can't speak none of the language. All you do is sit up here and try to convince people that you ain't African. You come on African Lives just to suggest that or press that I ain't African. You wasting your time, baby
what does
girl.
a Creole look like, sir?
Go over to Wani's Live. Go over to Earth Speak Live. Go over to Chief We Don't Know the Truth Live and convince them. Why you coming over here?
Yeah,
Trying to convince anybody.
Hold on.
You come
Y'all
over
gotta stop
here
talking about.
and tell us you ain't.
Got a problem with me being Creole, don't you? I know.
I'm not gonna drop away my points, to be honest with you.
Hey, Gummy. This echo.
I'm not a pretending coming at me in the comments. The thing that she said that was factual.
I'm gonna restart the live, man. Y'all are getting me annoyed, to be honest. Yeah, so that's, bro. It's like LA money with my bro. Like I literally gotta talk about it. Like, come on, my life is lagging. Like the literally I got is lagging, so we gotta stop talking about it. Let's stop doing that. Come on. So if you come on the panel, please let's be one at a time. Like let's stop this and stop cutting off the host. Like it's kind of you guys are making me lose my thoughts. You understand? So you can request backup, but my life is lagging. Like let's stop talking about each other. That's the point. So again, one at a time. One at a time, please. Let's stop doing this back and forth. One at a time. Yeah, can request back, but yeah, let's talk one at a time. Let's stop act like a bunch of kids. And nobody please accept Shannon on the panel, because that lady can't talk one at a time. Don't accept on the panel. You can have a conversation. One at a time, please. And again, when the host is talking, don't talk about the host. Literally, you make me lose my thoughts all the time. I'm trying to basically, I'm also teaching the lives. When it comes to you cutting me off, I'm also losing a bunch of train of thoughts. So again, when somebody's talking, wait your turn until I'm done. But when you're cutting me off, like, it basically made me lose a lot of information. I'm trying to basically drop and educate the live. It's pretty annoying, to be honest. Very annoying when you do that. It's extremely annoying. I'm trying to educate people on the live, but you guys are also cutting me off while I'm talking. So it's extremely annoying to do this at the time. I can't be meeting you at the same time, showing your source and also speaking and educating the live. Like, it's annoying. Stop doing that.
Exactly. That is why I mute you guys and I drop you guys, because you continue to interrupt Gummy and others that are actually really speaking in the first place. But when you keep doing that, I will drop you, because we've been patient enough with you, but you've got to stop interrupting and stop shouting.
Yeah, she does all the time. Her, Loose Meaty, and you can't have a conversation with them. You can't literally have a conversation with them. They talk every 2 seconds. And the funniest part, when you literally give them showtime, which I always do all the time, because a lot of you get a lot of talking about, when I give you guys showtime, you guys can't even speak for more than 10 seconds. You're already done. So what is your point? So you just come in on live to argue. You don't really want any education. You don't want to spread any knowledge. You want to just argue and just go back and forth. Any single time I put you guys on showtime, you don't want to speak. So what is the point? You want to just argue. That's the point, bro. Why don't
They
you turn
want you
on
to just give
showtime? You can't
everybody
even
like
speak.
2 minutes.
You can't even speak. You can't even speak for more than 1 minute when I put you guys on showtime. You don't even speak. You just only say a few words and you go back on mute. You can't speak for more than 2 seconds. Why the hell are you just coming out and arguing if you don't actually talk? That's the point. You want to just argue. You don't actually have a decent conversation. You have no information to give. Literally.
Hey, Gummy, can you do like a 2-minute timer?
2 minute timer. I've tried 1 minute. They can't even talk more than 20 seconds. That's what they do all the time.
When he gives us a timer, when he gives you guys a timer, you guys, all you do is you complain and whine and cry. You don't present.
Well, I mean, Gummy can like just cut off the mic after 1 minute or 30 seconds.
What you're doing? You're interrupting me.
Yeah.
I wasn't even done speaking. And I don't say a whole lot very often. So we need to keep this cordial. We need to behave ourselves. Stop interrupting. Stop unmuting when I mute you. I do it for a reason, because you keep interrupting somebody. Now keep it up and I will drop you.
Yeah,
I just found it odd. I found it odd that a Gullah Geechee was sticking up for a Creole. That blew my mind.
Well, I think she was just trying to clarify.
She wasn't trying to clarify. She was speaking up.
Okay, let's let her answer herself. She's right here.
Yeah, so hold on. So before she goes ahead, I actually want to actually draw some education on the time curiosity. I feel like there's gonna be a few changes on this panel. Like when you all come on the panel, if you interrupt the host, you're gonna get dropped like for like the next 1 hour, because you're doing something like it's kind of annoying. I'm showing a source and you see talking, I'm muting your mic. I'm trying to basically drop education to like hundreds of people on this live, so it's kind of annoying. And it's like I can't use my brain at once. I gotta do like 5 taxes at once. Show my phone on my computer, mute your mic, and like, bro, you gotta stop doing that, bro. It's very annoying, literally. When you're going, you're pretending cockroach reading lives. You don't come out and act like that, bro. That's the decorum. So when it comes to a lot of these guys, like I said, the definition of the word Creole itself. So again, when it comes to this word Creole, the definition itself, as you can see, the definition is not referring to just admixture. As you can see, the Creole definition coming from a primary source from the Webster's dictionary. Not all of you pretendians love using the Webster's dictionary. As you can see, Creole, the definition, as you can see, Creole as a noun, as you can see, relating to Creoles or the language, as you can see. It also references the word Creole can also be defined as a linguistic group of people. Basically means a person that speaks a language, or obviously the French derivation. As you can see, again, Creole number 2, as you can see, 2 of 2, the noun. Creoles, as you can see, a person of European descent, born especially in the West Indies or Spanish Americas. Again, the person that was born outside the European, they also referred to as Creole. So when it comes to this word Creole, I feel like people's idea of its definition, it doesn't really go in depth. So as a person that's taking my time to examine and understand the definition of every single word when it comes to what we refer to in this topic, it goes into depth. So certain words in America, they have been used for certain contexts historically. So when it comes to this word Creole itself, it's not just references to somebody having quote unquote indigenous African and European admixture. It also applied to European people, European descent born, especially in the West Indies or Spanish America. As you can see, a white person, again, Creole also applies to a whitey person. As you can see, a whitey person, descendant from early French, like I said earlier, people born from outside France, early French or Spanish settlers of the U.S. Gulf states, again, the Gulf states of the U.S., and preserving their speech, and culture. The third definition, a person of mixed French or Spanish and black descent. Again, black descent, speaking a dialect of French and Spanish. So when it comes to this word Creole, it applies to multiple. It has multiple definitions all across the board. But again, most of these definitions, it doesn't align to indigenous people. There's hardly any mention of indigenous people. So when it comes to the Creoles, yeah, the Creoles do have some degree of indigenous DNA. Like the average Creole has like 4 to 5% indigenous DNA. That is true, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean all Creoles they have indigenous DNA. No, they have some. They are fully black Creoles. There are people that are literally fully black Creoles in America. So when it comes to this word Creole itself, it's not just referring to indigenous admixed people. No, it mostly refers to European people born outside France and also a European person mixed with a European mixed French and black person's descent. So as you can see, nowhere does it mention indigenous DNA in this definition. They're literally there's like 6 definitions. Nowhere does it mention indigenous DNA once. You can see French-based language spoken by black people in South Louisiana. Black people. Nowhere does it mention indigenous. I can keep on going, but nowhere does it mention indigenous people at once being called Creole. Those are not your people. So again, Creole mostly refers to European people outside France and also black people that were admixed with the European French at that time in America. Nowhere does it mention indigenous DNA. So again, China, you're spreading misinformation. You have been debunked. Stop spreading a lot of false information. It's annoying.
China, be quiet. Jay, show the Gullah Geechee information
to me like that. What's wrong with you?
Ooh,
Have you lost your mind?
China, we know you a comedian. We don't take you serious,
No,
baby.
I don't
Relax. We don't take you serious, baby.
Yeah, but you better keep that New York stuff up
Jay,
there.
Jay, show that Gullah Geechee information and show how it's not tied.
Oh, okay, guys, hold on. Let Ariana do her clarification first, please. So everybody stop attacking her. Let her.
Word, because we don't want to talk to no New Yorker.
Ariana, I'm trying to be nice. Be quiet, please.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's not necessarily that I'm siding with China, but some of the things that she said was factual. And when you were saying things like sac passe, she's supposed to know what that means just because she's Louisiana Creole, that just wasn't simply correct. That is Haitian Creole, and they don't speak the same Creole.
Yeah, different dialect.
And see, this is where chronology comes into play. The majority of Haitians that's in Louisiana comes from.
No, it does not. It doesn't. I've been in plenty of.
Oh, he's a New Yorker, so he needs to chill.
I know. Please stop.
Yeah.
I'm just.
So no, they were already speaking that Creole prior Haitian people migrating into Louisiana. So again, that's just not correct. Louisiana Creoles and other Haitians on this platform will also tell you that they cannot understand each other. They may be able to comprehend a word or a sentence, but they have to work to put it together. Again, there's different kinds of Creoles. I'm Tidewater Creole from Virginia and Pennsylvania, and Gullahs are also another type of Creoles. Gummy put on the screen, there's multiple definitions of a Creole. You could be classified as a Creole if you were born, here in the New World. You didn't have to be super admixed. So that's all I was correcting. I'm not pretending like you're trying to get at. That's not the case at all. Maybe look at my page. Maybe check my sources out. But you don't have the right one. Thank you, Kat.
And far as him saying I don't look Creole, if I put my grandparents up from Louisiana, it's gonna crush his soul.
Hold on a second. I have one question for Anna. So you don't believe that Creole are indigenous native to this land, correct?
I do not.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, China, hold on a second. Jermaine, do you want to say anything before I let Creole speak? Jermaine? Brother?
No, I'm simply suggesting that she's right. Creole.
Okay, that didn't sound good. Okay, all right, we'll let you hold on for just a minute, Jermaine. Okay, now China, you may speak.
During the colonial period in Mississippi, a lot of our grandparents was born in that territory, meaning if you were born in that region, which West Florida was all a part of the Louisiana territory, and we all know the Louisiana territory stretched up from the West Florida area all the way up to Canada. So when he was speaking up on the Cajun people, he spread misinformation throughout the whole thing. So don't ever do that. If you're not from down here and you're not Creole, you're not from Mississippi, you're not from Louisiana, you're not from Texas.
You're the one spreading misinformation. You're the one spreading misinformation. Talking about Creole applies to indigenous people. That is wrong. The word does not
Let me
apply to
read.
indigenous people.
Okay, well, we can move on. I'll read my source. In Mississippi, the term Creole has historically referred to individuals of French, Spanish, and mixed heritages, particularly those born in the New World, Louisiana, Mississippi, and surrounding areas during the colonial period. Like I said, my grandparents was born in the colonial time. They were Creoles. This group of developed and unique culture, often associated with landed gentry and sophisticated lifestyles. They spoke French, Spanish. They spoke French. They spoke French, Spanish, or Creole languages and practiced the Roman Catholic faith,
So what does it
regardless of
mention?
their ethnicity.
Ma'am, beautiful
Regardless of
Congolese
their
queen. Beautiful Congolese queen. Where does it mention indigenous in
I'm
your
not
source?
Congolese.
Where does it mention
I'm not.
indigenous in your source, lady? Where does it mention indigenous in your source?
You want me to bring that other one up I read? I can bring that one too. You was away from the phone.
Yeah, do that.
Okay. Yeah, because nobody's lying. And he talking about something. Who look? Don't. Baby, Creole don't have a look. Just know I ain't African. Okay. Here we go. Cajun and Creole. The term Creole can have many meanings, like the term Moor got many meanings. The term Creole can have many meanings, but during the early days of Louisiana, it meant that a person was born in the colony and was a descendant of French or Spanish parents. The term is a derivative word of Creola, which means native, local, or it was intended as a class distinction. In present Louisiana, Creole generally means person or people of mixed colonial French, African American, and Native American ancestry. The term Black Creole, can I finish? The term Black Creole refers to freed slaves from Haiti or their descendants. Still, another class of.
And where does it mention indigenous? Where does it mention the word indigenous here?
You want me to read it again? Okay.
Where does it mention indigenous Americans being called Creole, lady? It says African American.
Okay, no, okay. Let me read it again because you're acting like you can't see. It says that it meant that a person was born in the colony and was a descendant of French and Spanish parents in that time. So we're talking about the time frames. But the term is derivative to the word Creole, which means native, local, or was intended as a class. And present Louisiana, okay, let me
indigenous
read it.
people
Okay.
getting called colored. Lady,
Okay,
you claim to be a fully indigenous lady. Where does it mention indigenous Americans getting called colored? I'm
finna read it.
Where does it mention indigenous people getting called Creole? It says mixed people. No, what does it mention indigenous people?
Okay, let me read.
You're claiming your people are indigenous, but yet you're claiming to be Creole. So are you African? Okay. So are you claiming that you are? Okay, so do you have African admixture? Do you have African admixture?
Can I read it?
Answer the question, Shina. Do you have African admixture? You have to have African admixture to claim to be Creole. Do you have African admixture? Let's go by your source. Do you have African admixture?
Can I finish reading my source?
Simple question. Do you have African admixture?
I have multiple admixtures.
Answer the question. Do you have African admixture?
I have
yes or no? Do you have African admixture? Yes or no? It's a
I
simple
have,
question. Yes or no?
I have,
Yes or no? Do you have African admixture?
I
Because we're
have
going by your
multiple
source.
admixtures.
We are going by your source. Your source said for you to be a Creole, you gotta have African admixture with European and tiny
Don't
bit of
have
Native
to. You
American.
don't.
It does. It mentioned Africa. Do you,
Okay,
Shina, have African admixture? Yes or no? Do you have? No,
sir.
you're deflecting, deflecting.
Okay, can I finish with my
Debunk
source
yourself.
though?
What source? You just debunk yourself.
No, I didn't. How?
You just willingly admitted that you as a Creole, you do have African heritage.
Put me back on the big screen so I can.
Notice how Native Americans are the last because that is the tiniest bit. Again, you gotta have African admixture
Put me
to be
back
a
on the big
Creole.
screen.
You're claiming your people are quote unquote fully indigenous people that were Creole. That's not possible. Again, you gotta have African admixture to be a Creole.
Okay, cool. Can I now? Can I finish reading it? By your definition, can I finish reading my source out? Because it says it right there. Means mixed people, mixed persons of different ethnic.
French, Congolese mixed with a tiny sprinkle of Shakhtar
No.
seasoning.
You can't.
French, Bantu, French, West African with a little tiny sprinkle of indigenous
No, you can't make
Shakhtar
it what you
DNA.
want it.
French, West African, Yoruba with a little sprinkle of indigenous American DNA. That's what makes a Creole. That's what makes a Creole.
You love taking that.
Francais, Babatunde, and Mikwok. That's what makes a Creole Indian. You gotta have the theory. You gotta have the theory. You gotta have those theory. Like, you gotta have those theory people.
You
You can't be a
love
Creole
trying
without
to
having
take,
those theory.
and you love trying to
You cannot be a Creole without being those having those theory, lady. You can't be a Creole without having those theory.
and you love trying to take.
You gotta have that African ambition to be a Creole. You gotta have that African ambition
Cool.
to be a
Like I
Creole.
said, that's fine. And you love trying to take that indigenous away from us, but it's there.
No, hold on. Okay, what this definitely proves is, especially when is the time frame that name was labeled to the peoples of that area, because the Native American people were moved out of that area.
No, they was not, ma'am.
It was left the white
ma'am.
and the
That
African
the American
people.
Indians were not pushed out into the
they were.
Indian removal.
No, they have been being moved ever since the colonizers.
They wasn't removed until 1836 and 1832, ma'am. They was pushed. They was forced to go to Oklahoma, ma'am.
In that area, they were removed already. That is
no, they was not, ma'am.
Wait, you're not listening.
The Chittamachas and the Natchez was still.
Okay, let me finish what I'm saying.
The Cato was still there.
So at that time, in that particular area, the Native American people were moved out of that area. That is why
What year?
It was heavily with the YT people and the African American peoples.
What year, Kate?
It's extremely rare to have a Native intermarried into that group.
No, ma'am.
So then show.
You have to understand about how the Cato was still there in Louisiana and Texas, and they was also into. Let me finish, because apparently you don't know what had took place in the southern region.
What year?
They were not pushed out until Andrew Jackson enacted the Indian Removal Act.
They were already being pushed out.
They weren't, ma'am.
Yes,
what state were they pushed to then?
The only reason why that act was made in place was because they had to do it legally by government. The Indians were already being pushed out.
About Taínos. When did I say Taínos?
No, the Indians were already pushed out.
No, when did I say Taínos was in Texas? I said the Catos, the Chittamachas, the Natchez, and the Osages. They were still here, ma'am. When did I say Taínos was in Texas?
I never said Taínos. I don't know why you're bringing it up.
I'm trying to see what is old man talking about in the comments. I never said Taínos. We know Taínos was in the Caribs. We know they belong to the Caribbeans. So when did I say Taínos were in Texas? That's what I'm trying to get clarity on. Did you hear me say that, Kat?
No, I didn't hear you say Taínos.
Okay, so what is old man talking about?
I don't know. He's right next to you. You can ask him that stupid
What are you
question.
talking about, old man? Because I didn't say anything about a Taino being.
Hey, why do you sound like a Boondocks character? Why are you shouting? Come on.
Oh, my bad. I ain't trying to shout. I'm saying what because I don't like being lied on. And Cat, you're gonna have to source up showing that the Indians were not still on their land prior to Andrew Jackson Indian Removal Act that took place in 1832, and the Indians were forced to walk the Trail of Tears.
Source up. There was a whole lot of things going on.
Source up.
Oh yes.
If I got a source up, you got a source up too.
Trail of Tears is a separate section of the United States.
Where were they then?
Your area would be a different area.
Exactly. The Southeast.
This was happening.
The Mississippians were still on their land, ma'am. The Mississippians were still on their land, ma'am, in the 1800s into the Indian Removal Act, ma'am. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. There's no debunking our history down here in the Southeast region.
You're not getting it. During this whole time,
you're not even from the Mississippian Empire. What are you talking about?
Good. During all this time frame of when the colonizers here. Sorry, Gummy.
Yeah, I'm saying it's kind of funny. She said there was no empire in the Mississippi. That's not true.
You've got to understand that all this time frame, the colonizers were pushing all the colonizers were pushing all the Indian people out of all that area from New York clear down to Florida. All in that area that's before the westward expansion. Those Indians were already being pushed back. The only reason why
I'm asking you for the source. Where were they until 1832 came and he ordered the U.S. Ma'am, are you understanding what I'm asking you, Kat, on our history? When he ordered the U.S. Army to push the indigenous people of the southeastern region out of their homeland, where were they until 1832 through 1836, ma'am? Where were they residing
They were fighting with the government. Hello?
Okay, what lands? What lands were they on?
Oh my God. All of that land is indigenous land. All of it is.
You said that they now you're backbiting. You're chasing your own tail, ma'am.
All of this land is indigenous land.
Yeah.
So the white people were constantly pushing us out.
Cat.
And that's when they started bringing. I'm talking about all my Indian peoples.
Okay, were they from the
You're
Southeast?
Not indigenous natives, so get over it.
You're not Southeastern, ma'am.
You not either.
Yes, I am. You want to see
you're
it?
Not.
Ma'am, my people been here, ma'am.
Take a DNA test to prove that 1%.
No, ma'am. My
Take
people
DNA
are listed.
Prove your 1%.
And then I have grandparents that were also born in Oklahoma.
1%,
no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Prove
no,
your
ma'am.
1%.
No, ma'am. I will
1%.
not. I will not. You're going to have to prove they wasn't here.
You're the one that's lying.
You're going to have to prove my wasn't here. I know yours wasn't in the South.
Yeah, this lady's giving me a migraine.
The DNA test doesn't happen.
Yo. We don't do that back in front of the bro. Wait your turn. Like, come on, just got in here, bro. So you gotta introduce yourself first. Until we're done with China, you gotta introduce yourself first, E-Bunks. Where you from?
My bad. You know I get hyped.
Yeah, introduce yourself and what you gotta say on the topic.
My bad. E-Banks, Virginia, 55.
Okay, so what you gotta say on the topic?
The indigenous people definitely were here, and you have to look. Actually, once again, I do have things on my page you can look at.
Yeah, no, hold on, bro. You're not gonna come out and start promoting your page. That's not the conversation, though. We said what's the topic, though. So again, of course, we know indigenous people were here. We know that is true. I mean, but they were not black people, though. We're speaking about them being black. Like, either were black people in this land before colonization. So do you agree that there were no black people in America before slavery? Do you agree on that, E-Bucks? Are you in agreement
there
with that?
There were black people here before slavery.
Okay, that's perfect. So what evidence do you have, sir? What evidence do you have?
All right, what I want to go ahead and present also is once again, you do have to understand that King Powhatan was a BLK man.
That's not true. So I hold
yes,
on.
he was.
That is not true.
fault.
That is
We're
true.
not
See,
gonna do
that's
this
why.
back and
That's why
forth.
I'm gonna tell you
Hold
what.
on,
The
hold on.
division comes in.
We're not gonna do this back and forth. Let me drop your China card. I'm not here for this again. Sir, before we start going to kick Powerton, can we actually go with the evidence? You said there were black people in this land before slavery. Can you go with the evidence? Yeah. So what's the evidence,
That
sir?
is the evidence, and I have a picture, and I have
Really?
information,
Yeah,
and
so,
I have a blood relative that was his relative on my
really?
page.
So hold on. So you're saying the king of the chief of the Powhatan tribe. Nobody calls him king. The chief of the Powhatan tribe. Again, the father of Pocahontas was a black man. That's what you're saying. The father of Pocahontas was a
Yes,
black man. So
absolutely.
present the evidence. Show us.
I'm
Go on,
I'm
present the
here
evidence.
from Virginia. I'm here from Virginia. We do have a museum here, and we have little what you call little figurines and little small
Really? Figurines?
for
Wow.
hundreds of years that has been here, and
Figurines.
that's why
Hold on, fam. Let me ask you a question.
we know what we know, and that's what the disrespect comes in at.
So let me ask you a question, sir. So let me guess. Are these
Way
figurines?
that you believe.
Hold on. Are these figurines of the so-called indigenous people looking similar to what is on my photo? So this so-called Powhatan black chief, like, can you open your camera and show us his photo? Where can we find this accurate description of this person, this Powhatan chief? Where's his drawing? Where's the painting of this so-called black indigenous Powhatan? Let me put on the big screen. Open your camera. And can you present the source? Please educate the live, sir. Open your camera and present us physical evidence of that black indigenous Powhatan chief. Obviously the father of Pocahontas. Let's see the indigenous drawing. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Open your camera. Let's see the source. Present us the so-called depiction of this black Powhatan chief from the museum.
It's not a problem. It's very easy to find, but let me go ahead and pull it up for you. Give me a quick second. I ain't know I was gonna be doing all this, but go ahead. Hold on.
Yeah, let's see those evidence.
Go ahead and talk. I'll get it for you.
I hope you don't pull up that TikTok video of the you ain't gonna believe that this is a photo of the Powhatan chief. That TikTok video basically debunked when I first showed my face. So that's where you're pretending to get your information from.
Jay, I'm from Virginia. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Get him, Brianna.
No idea. So I wanna see this for myself. That's why I had to come up. I have no idea what museum he's talking about that shows that Chief Powhatan was black.
How you doing tonight, sis?
I'm doing good. Got a little headache, but I'm all right.
Oh, need some Tylenol like the rest of us?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, catch up at the screen. We're almost to 190K. Let's work on that 200K to show the good support that Gummy has been educating us for quite a while. And you can tap the star on the left-hand side to subscribe, and also join his team for his daily heart at the top of the screen by his name. Thank you.
Hey, for reference, a lot of people need to start researching Dr. Henry Gates. And he has a television show on PBS called Discovering Your Roots or Finding Your Roots. You can find a lot of valuable information regarding the census just from watching that show. And he does a lot of entertainers. He does their DNA and their ancestry and their genealogy. I actually emailed him probably around 2014, and he emailed me back, and I asked him like if he could do an individual's genealogy. He told me it would cost $10,000. Yeah, like if any one of us want to have our genealogy done by him and his staff, it would be $10,000. I know that was back in 2014.
Don't leave.
Oh no, did he run away or something? What happened to the dude? What happened?
Oh, he said he's having some difficulties. He'll come
Technical
back.
difficulties. Wow. So now it's like it's a movie now. It's having technical difficulties.
Right. Now he doesn't know how to work TikTok now. So we'll see.
Pretty sure when I woke up in the morning at first, when I was going to get something, I overheard him on somebody's live blabbing a bunch of pseudo history. So that's kind of where he has Ibrahim Traore in his photo. E-Banks, request backup, bro. Come back. Don't hide. Don't run, bro. I want to see that actual black power team shift you're talking about. Let's see that photo, bro. Come back. Wait, I know you're there, bro. Request up.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, request up, bro. Don't run now, bro. Don't run. Come back.
Let's not forget what he said. It's a museum, I think he said in Virginia, that shows Chief Powhatan as black. So I really want to see this.
Museum showing that's hilarious, man. You know the funniest part, a lot of these so-called chiefs, a lot of these pretenders love to claim if you as a person knows anything about research when it comes to getting across certain information, there are actual drawings of these people. So again, the chief Tuscaloosa, when a lot of these pretenders come out and claim to be a Shakta Indian, there's actual drawings, first-hand primary source drawings of people like Chief Tuscaloosa. There's actual first-hand drawings of chiefs like of the Powhatan tribe. There's actual drawings. So like when y'all come out and claiming these guys as black, like these were dumb or something, like there's actual drawings. And I'm pretty sure on this panel I've done this before, debunking a lot of pretenders, making these claims of quote unquote the Chief Powhatan being quote unquote black. That's been debunked. So again, cool. So again, this illiterate pretending, wish I know you're in the comments. Come back, bro. Yeah, great, wonderful. You're back on. So we got our brother back on. So again, technical issues is gone. Cool, bro. So yeah,
All right,
so go ahead.
all right. I do have the statue on my page. Go to my page.
No,
It's the
we
first
don't
one up
go to
there.
your page, sir. Bro, you can't come out and start promoting your page. You can open your camera and let's see the story. You can't come out and start promoting your page. It's very disrespectful to come on another man's panel and start promoting your page. Come on, bro.
Screenshot it, brother.
It's
So I
yeah,
can't put it up here. But
you have camera access, sir. Open your camera and let's see the evidence. Nobody's trying to go to your page, bro. Let's see the evidence. Nobody's trying to go to your page. Open your camera and let's see the evidence. Come on the big screen. Show us the evidence, bro. We don't want to go to your page. Nobody want to see your page, bro. Nobody want to go to your page.
why you don't want to go? If you, that mean you don't
Bro,
want to see the
nobody
information.
wants to go to your cockroach reading page, bro. Like, come on, man. You can't come out and start promoting your page on another man's TikTok. It's disrespectful, bro. It's like coming out to another man's wife, talking about, hey, bro, go check out my apartment. Come on, bro. Like, come on, you can't do that, bro. You're on my life promoting your page. That don't make no sense, bro. Come on. Open your camera, sir, and present the evidence. Let me invite you. Open your camera and let's see those quote-unquote museum statues that depict black Pocahontas, a black Powhatan chief Indian tribe.
Having it right there on my page, man. It's easy to look up though, but I don't know why it's so hard. But it's all good, man. If you don't want to believe, it's no big deal. I was.
Man, get out of here, bro. You clown. You goofy. Get up on it, bro. You goofy. It's on my page, my brother. Get out of here, you clown. I'm gonna go to your page, bro. I rather pop my left foot than actually go to your page. You drunk? What's wrong with you clowns? That was funny as well, bro. Go to my page. Go to my page. You're funny, bro. You're a funny dude. Go to my page. You're hilarious. So your page is so important that you can't come out here and just open your camera and show the story. Let me go to your page. Why the hell should I go to your page? For what? You just said you have information. Then it should be easy for you to come out here and give us access to that information. It doesn't take that much lengthy work. So again, when it comes to a lot of you pretenders coming out here claiming, so again, you mentioned that you have a source. Again, I'm gonna bring it back up. Again, don't mention your page. So again, let me educate you, little illiterate pretending. Let me give you some education. Of course, it's a TikTok video. I said it, bro. God. Didn't I mention this, Brianna? When I said I hope it's not gonna pull up that. Hold on. I hope it's not gonna pull up that debunk TikTok video, bro. Like, hold on, y'all. Like, come on. How did you mention this, Brianna? Like,
tell me that guy don't have.
You know what's ironic? This is the first video that actually debunked when I started showing my face. This is actually the first video. If anybody knows about my videos, this is the first video that actually debunked when I started showing my face on TikTok. This is actually the first video. It's kind of ironic that it's pulling up the same video of a black common statue talking about this is the poker.
Yeah.
You know what? Hold on. I'm not gonna pull up a primary source. Hold on. I'm not gonna pull up a primary source. I'm gonna just play the video.
That's not a black man.
Find out my video. I'll play the video.
It's not.
I have a video of me debunking that.
It's not.
I'll play the video. Hold on a second. Play that video. I'm not gonna pull up primary source. Fly is not. Meet is mine.
What's not black about him?
I fly. You're not about the primary source, bro. You're not about the primary source. Just play the video.
That's not a native indigenous man.
I'm gonna play that video, bro. You're not about the primary source.
American
You're not
black
really
man
about
in the
to
US. That's a Nubian, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna play my video, bro. Let me play my first video. I wanted to actually pull up an actual primary source. I thought it was actually coming out there showing an actual document for the museum, but clearly it's not a museum document. It's literally pulling up that same video that was debunking on my face. Y'all are trolls, bro. Y'all are trolls for it, bro. Like, you know, we need to pull up the same video that literally was debunking when I first showed my face on TikTok. This is hilarious, man. These guys are hilarious.
Also, I want to point out this statue is not in Virginia in any museums. I have no idea what he's talking about. So, but this is not Chief Powhatan. We got to stop this.
Yeah, and there's a plaque right at its feet that explains.
I'm gonna just play the video, y'all, because I feel like these guys don't really want me debunking. So I'm gonna just play my video because this will literally put up the same video that was debunking. Where's the video, bro? Yeah, exactly.
See, the sooner y'all realize Pocahontas descended from this
Bro,
man.
literally the same video. Don't literally came out here and put up again, bro. How are you gonna come out here and say let's go to your page? But you're coming out here literally copywriting. You're copywriting another pseudo's person's video, saying, hey, let's go to your page. Bro, why the hell should we go to your page to watch another pseudo video that is not from you, bro? You didn't create this video, man. You did not create the video. You're not the one that created this video, sir. Like, how are you gonna come out here and start promoting your page from a video that you didn't create? That don't make no sense, bro. It don't make no sense. Literally.
See, the sooner y'all realize Pocahontas descended from this man,
Ah, God.
the sooner y'all will understand what we, so-called Black Americans, mean when we say we descend from and thus are the Amerindians, the Paleo-Indians, the American Indians, whatever you call.
So yeah, so it kind of seems TikTok is pretty much a playground for pseudoscientists to basically spread misinformation on the internet. So pretty much a lot of pseudos have been sending me this video that I just showed you of that content creator saying that is a quote-unquote proof that Black Americans are indigenous to the Americas. So I don't want to create the video to basically correct the heap of misinformation that unintelligent content creator has spreaded in his video when it comes to him labeling this. Again, this statue was in his video. He labeled them as quote-unquote depictions of Native Americans, and he said the depictions of the father of Pocahontas, which I feel like we as a people, we as Black...
Bro literally stole another content creator, another pseudo content creator, word for word, bar for bar, and said, hey, go to my page. Bro, how the hell are you gonna come out here and post Mickey Mouse and say, hey, this is my invention? Like, come on, bro. Like, you're literally plagiarizing your fellow pretendian. Like, you guys have no shame. Pretendians, they have no model. They back shook their own people. Literally come out here promoting another pseudo content creator talking about go to my page. You're sad, bro. You're sad as hell, bro.
Yes, we as people in the diaspora, we shouldn't really take misinformation from. I don't like their origins. Again, when it comes to what the host showed as the quote-unquote depiction of indigenous Americans, again, that is nowhere close to a depiction of Native Americans. So this is what you call the Blackamoors. Again, this is a very historical, important account. A lot of people need to keep it on context because I keep on seeing a bunch of Black people saying that these are depictions of Native Americans. Again, these are what you call the Blackamoors. Again, these are the Blackamoor statues, as you can see. Sub-Saharan descent. The Blackamoors are referring to sub-Saharan African descent. Again, African descent people, usually in clothing that suggests high status, commonly example of the items and objects decorated in Blackamoor style include sculptures, jewelries, and furnitures. So as you can see, when it comes to this depiction and these statues, I keep on seeing a lot of pseudos creating and saying that they're depictions of Native Americans. Those are not. So these are terracotta. So these are mostly statues created by European, mostly found in the noble European men's house. When it comes to it was created.
Yeah, I'm a piece study, but I basically showed the photo of Pocahontas. Yeah.
Participating in the global trade. The Blackamoor art, which is the art not referring to Indians, the Blackamoor art became a statue of symbol, suggesting that the owner is more powerful and connected. And this basically is these statues were created by Europeans to basically put Africans in the terms of servitude. As you can see, we're going to speak on that on the third reason. As you can see, many Blackamoor statues depicted African figures as several rows holding trees. Again, those Africans, again, every single art that I see a lot of these pretendians showing and calling them Indians, they're always holding trees. Why? Because the Europeans depicted African people as too docile or too dumb to actually be anything. So they depicted us as basically on dominance, basically depicting us holding trays as severance. As you can see, several rows holding trays, and supporting candle holders, reflecting the deeply racialized hierarchy in that time. These artworks often romanticize servitude of African people and reinforce the ideas of black inferiority and white superiority. As you can see here, these statues are nowhere depicting Indians, nor are they showing the good side of black people historically. They are depicting and calling Africans servants. Stop calling that a source. As you can see again, that is definitely not a depiction of the father of Pocahontas. As you see, this is an actual drawing of Pocahontas, and she looks nothing like you.
So pretendians, this your pretending grandma. So this so these are your grandmas look like, really? Like, so your pretending grandmas was looking like this. Because this is Pocahontas. This is actually the daughter of the chief of Pocahontas, bro. Or the chief of the Powhatan tribe. So this Pocahontas again. How are y'all coming out and calling this man a black man? But this man was creating a daughter like this, bro. How the hell is this lady a black lady? Does your grandma look like this? Do you pretenders have so much shame to claim this lady as your grandma? You're saying your grandma's descent from this lady, but this lady don't look anywhere close to your pretenders, bro. Literally, you came out here presenting a debunked source, already debunked like 3 months ago. Y'all sad, bro. Y'all really sad.
And that's the thing, even in that time frame when they did that sketch and drawing of Pocahontas, they actually had ones of the people from Africa. You can see it clear as day, the difference between the two peoples.
Literally, like, dude came out and said, go to my page, man. Go to my page, man. I'm like, dude, like, there's, again, key point, a lot of these pseudos that come on this live, they're like, I call them the bottom pinching pretendians. Basically, they tend to be the last people that information gets to. So, like, they mostly get the information from videos on TikTok or videos from their favorite content creator like Top Cats, Pygmy Natural, Pseudo the Tree, like those clowns. So a lot of these guys, they're basically the bottom pitching of the pretendian community. So they tend to be the last people to get access to the new pseudo information. So when it comes to a lot of these videos that they come out here talking about that's quote unquote, it has been debunked, bro. So you're coming out here promoting a debunked video that we should go to your page. You're a clown. Literally, bro. I basically debunked this video like 3 months ago. So like, I just know when he came out and talking about, oh, Pocahontas' dad was a black man. I'm like, dude, come on, bro. I can literally see the future of you pretending, bro. And it's very gloomy, bro. You guys have a very gloomy future. Your future as a pretending is gloomy, bro. You're getting thunder strikes with sources back to back, bro. Your future is gloomy, bro. You have been debunked. Y'all have been debunked, bro. Let it go. Like, we can't take y'all seriously, bro. You have been debunked back to back. You're coming out and pulling up old videos that have been debunked by me 4 months ago as a quote-unquote source. You've been debunked, bro. Let it go. Pocahontas is not a black lady, nor was her father a black man. It's been debunked. It must be really painful seeing an African dude literally drop kicking and slap dunking your black American indigenous grandma 247 on this planet, bro. It might be really painful, bro. I feel bad for you, bro. To be honest, if as an African American dude getting told by an African that, hey, bro, your so-called indigenous American history is false, I lie, bro. It's gonna really bitter, bro. So for you to get to see an African person slap donkey your so-called black indigenous grandma 247 like LeBron, like, bro, it's very painful, bro. I feel for y'all, bro. At this point, it's very painful, bro. But we gotta keep on doing what we're gonna do, bro. We're gonna keep on debunking your clowns and your so-called made-up indigenous history, bro. Keep on crying in the comments.
I mean, to me, just the lengths you guys go to is insane. Insane to sit up here and lie and say that Chief Powhatan is black and you've seen it in a museum and there's figurines and statues. I mean, just lying is insane.
Like, really a museum. So TikTok, so again, TikTok is a museum. TikTok FYP, that's a museum. That's a Virginia museum.
Hey, Gummy, man, I want to clarify something real quick. So don't be getting all uppity and knocking me out of my chair.
That's his job.
So check this out regarding the census, right? All right, 1870 and 1880, in the first census after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1870, the racial categories were white, black, mulatto, Indian, and Chinese. Now, the 1890 census, right, was the 1890 census was actually, we don't have many census records from the 1890s because the office where the 1890 census records were located had burnt down. So a lot of those records have been displaced. And in those records, you had the mulatto, the octoroon, and the quadroon. Now, the 1890 categories of mulatto, octoroon, and quadroon were not on the 1900 census. After census officials judged, like I told you previously, the data of little value and misleading. The data was of little value and misleading. Mulatto was added back in 1910, but removed again in 1930 after the data was judged very imperfect.
Yeah,
You cannot, when somebody's listed as mulatto, there's no way you can determine their actual ancestry because they're going by the phenotype. You see what I'm saying?
Bro, you can,
so
man.
Back then, they didn't have the tools that we have now to be able to use genealogy
they can,
and
bro.
DNA to trace people back and break people
so,
down.
Hold on. So you don't know when it comes to people getting listed on the census, they were still offshooting of your parents. You know that, right? So when it comes to a person getting classified as mulatto in the census, they most likely hold on. When it comes, like, we're not dumb. Like, come on. If you go examine genealogy from the 1900s and from the 1800s, if you go examine any single person called a mulatto, again, quick tax. If you as a person does have access to ancestry.com, which I know I did, I've done my DNA test on there, you get free access to certain genealogical records. So if you have access, go search up any single mulatto, click on the mulatto, and go click on the person's parent. It literally says their parent is a white man and a black American and a black lady. Bet it. Like, let's go down. Click on any single mulatto in any single genealogical record.
Back in those days, people wanted.
I'm saying click on any single mulatto person. And once you do on that, click on their parents. It literally says their parents are being classified as white and black. Because again, they don't miss with classification, bro. The classification was based off your parents. Well, based off that, again, they are birth certificate, bro. There were birth certificates used in those censuses to apply their race. So it wasn't just a bunch of random people writing down whatever race they wanted, bro. They applied your status of your birth certificate. So your parents wrote down what you were. So it wasn't just a bunch of guessing, bro. They had documentation to back up your race. So again, when they called you a mulatto, they most likely based it off what your parents were and what your parents wrote down in your birth certificate, because your parents will most likely wrote you down as a mulatto because that was your race at that time. So let's not be delusional, bro. Let's not be intellectually obtuse. We know what it means. When it comes to the census, they were not dumb, bro. They know what they were doing. The census was based off your birth certificate.
They did not have birth certificates back then for black.
I'm still talking. The federal census in America was also based off your birth certificate. They were not dumb. So when it comes to a person getting through a census every single decade in America, they base it off your birth certificate. So therefore, you won't find a mulatto person getting classified as mulatto today and getting classified the next decade as white tea. That is wrong. We based off your documentation. Every single document aligns with your classification. There was no mistake. Let's stop pushing this quote-unquote narrative. There were a bunch of people making mistakes in the classification, bro. That is false. There were no mistakes happening. They based it off your document that you had, off your birth certificate, and off your parents' DIE certificate, bro. Come on, let's stop spreading misinformation. That ain't gonna work,
bro. In the 18th, in that era, a lot of African American people, especially who came out of slavery, since they were deemed as property, they didn't have birth certificates, bro.
Bro, they did. That's a lie.
A lot of the
That's
marriages back then.
That's a lie. Black Americans had birth certificate before slavery got abolished. That's a lie. That's a pure lie.
Black Americans as property.
That is not true.
They were deemed as property.
That is not true. That is not true. Aside that is not true. There were a bunch of Black Americans, bro. There were a bunch of Black American freemen. I know from all the freemen. Black Americans had freemen. Now you're crashing out. Come on. Black Americans had freemen in their community. So when it comes to before 18,
South, bro.
What they were freemen. What are you talking about? They were freemen in the South. Now you're being unintellectual, bro. They were freemen in the South,
bro.
They were free Black American men in the South. They were.
And they're not
They were
worth
free
many.
men in the South.
Not everybody
They
was
were
free in the
free black
South, bro.
American men. So
It
now
was
you're spreading misinformation now. They were free black American men in
paper.
the South before slavery. Stop lying.
They have papers to be free.
Now you're crashing on. Now you're misinformation. They were free black American men in the South. You're spreading false information, bro. You're spreading
But
false
they're not
information.
worth. They were
That
not
is
a
wrong.
lot of free
Bro,
men.
now you're just twisting and turning any single. You're grasping, bro. At this point, you're grasping, bro. You literally just came and said there were no free men in the South, that they were all in. No, that is wrong, bro. There were free black American men in the South. Go look it up. Like, you're not funny, bro. Y'all think you become African, like, I don't know about all this history. Like, come on, bro. I'm not dumb. I read documentation. Bro, didn't I just come out here and say when I was basically debunking that fool about the Watson Peleka, I was reading about a black American person that literally ran away from the South to the North. And after he got his freedom as a free man, when he came back to the South, he got enslaved in the South. And therefore, he also saw his fellow brothers. He wrote that he saw his fellow black American brothers roaming as free men, despite him being a runaway slave to the North that came back to the South. Again, there's actual case study of black American people being free men. What are you talking about, bro? The black Americans that were free men in the South. Stop spreading misinformation. This is about history, bro. It's not about you just coming out there and twisting and turning. Bro, you can't twist and turn history to fit your narrative, bro. It's not a biased panel. When it comes to this panel, nobody's been biased. I don't come out here and pick and choose who to apply information to. It's not biased panel, bro. The information comes as fact. There were black American freemen in the South during slavery. That's a fact.
So I just wanted to point out, when you're reading all this stuff and you're listening to it, and that was the point I was trying to make before I kept getting cut off by you know who. At that time, again, it's that time frame of when the indigenous native peoples were still battling with the U.S. government before they even became a government. And if you're fasting forward into the 1800s, they had already set up their government. And so they purposely would not count us because they were still in the process of stealing the land, still trying to wipe us out. So, but we have always been here. This is one of the problems that these pretendians are coming up and say, well, you weren't even here until the, 1924 or whatever it was. That this is the very truth that you need to look at. They purposely did that. That still doesn't make the African American people indigenous to this land.
Yeah, African American.
Yeah, I'm just saying, hold on, because I'm not lie, bro. Old man, you kind of making me a little bit angry because what you doing, you basically like is as somebody that basically based on it as an historian, it's kind of very offensive when I see people twisting and turning history to their narrative. But so when it comes to history, history is not you being a learned person on history does not mean you can come out here and start twisting and turning history to your narrative. When it comes to some pretendians, they also are very well educated on history, but they twist and turn the history to fit their narrative. So when it comes to, you can't just come out here and start twisting and turning history to fit your narrative, bro. So like I said, I was trying to be nice to you, but you kind of see you won't let that thing bush. You brought up again. Me wanted to basically let the talk pass away, but again you brought it up again. Okay, cool. So if you're fighting so bad that you do have that indigenous person in that mulatto bloodline, okay, cool. When it comes to mulattoes, if you're saying that person is a mulatto, okay, cool. Then who is the indigenous person that created that mulatto? You said there were three people mixed in to create your so-called great-grandmother. Where is the indigenous person?
That's where I was coming at with the records.
Where's the indigenous person? That's the
back
question.
Then, let me speak about Spanish Florida. The Spanish Florida was free. That's why a lot of the Gullah and the Geechee, they escaped, slavery in the Carolinas.
Yeah,
the British came coming down. So a lot of them became free in Spanish Florida, right?
But
eventually, listen to me. Eventually, Spanish Florida became a slave state.
That is not my question, though. That's my question, though. You just said you just said your great grandmother is getting classified as mulatto, and I said, hey, mulatto applies to white people and African people. I've spent like 4 different. I've given you like 6 different versions of sources. Again, it's kind of so you don't want to get the education. You don't want to basically admit that you're wrong. Okay, cool. Then I don't know. Hold on, I'm still talking. If you're old, I'm not done though. I'm not done. So again, if you're still arguing about you having a so-called indigenous person in your family and you're saying there